See an accident reported at Wbrz Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Wbrz, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
For information and opinion.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Here is Brian Haldane.
606 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Good morning, everybody. Brian here with you. Jake producing. We are off and running on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Got a busy Monday morning show for you. First of all, 6:35, Richard Condon's going to walk down the hall. I have no idea what we'll be covering. That's kind of the nature of the segment. I look forward to it every single Monday, getting my Monday started off the right way with Condon's Countdown. In our 7 o'clock hour, Dr. Katie Taylor from Our Lady of the Lake joins me for our Medical Monday segment. In that segment, we'll be talking about the flu shots, this year's flu season. Last year, we didn't have a whole lot with the flu. Obviously, with the large number of people wearing masks, that was going to have two effects. One effect would have been on COVID, and the other effect would have been on spraying those same germs all around for the flu as well. Plus, just so many events canceled, so many opportunities to share your flu with other people gone by the wayside. So last year's flu, not that bad. But we're talking about it this year with Dr. Katie Taylor. Stephen Wagusespack is going to hop on board at 7:35 to, just take a look back at the bad beat from the weekend. I mean, it was a rough go at the polls. I got to push pause right there because I've got thoughts. It's going to dominate a lot of this first hour as well, as far as what went down on Saturday and how we kind of ended up with the worst of both worlds, the way things played out. We'll get into it in a minute. 8 o'clock hour, super hyped about this one. Legendary actress and comedian Vicki Lawrence. She was on the Carol Burnett show, Mama's Family. She's still doing the mama character. In fact, if you were at Wbrz Friday night, you already know this, as she had her two-woman show Friday night. I got the chance to catch up with her Friday before the show to talk about mama and comedy and where TV is at right now versus the golden age of television. Because I think Carol Burnett show, Mama's Family, kind of fell within those parameters of the golden age of television. Talk with her about that. She's also got this interesting condition that it's kind of alarming, not a whole lot of people know about. So that's 8:15 this morning, and then we'll round things out. Catherine Weidert, might be Weidert, I've only read it so far, from Catholic Charities is going to hop in at 8:40 to talk about their Christmas programs, what Catholic Charities for the Diocese of Baton Rouge has got going on this Christmas. Before we get started with any of that, though, got to start off with a couple of quick notes. Number one, and I'll dive into it more in later segments, but number one, tough beat at the polls on Saturday if you were in favor of Constitutional Amendment number 1. A lot of folks were. I know here in Baton Rouge, getting the word out about Constitutional Amendment number 1 got done. 57% of voters in East Baton Rouge Parish were a yes for Amendment number 1. Constitutional Amendment number 1, here's what it would have done. It would have streamlined the sales tax collection and made it a state job, not a bunch of individual taxing or municipalities. not make it their job or take it away from them to centralize it and maximize it, quite frankly. That failed. Constitutional Amendment number 2, lowering the maximum allowed rate of income tax and providing a deduction for federal income taxes. That passed. Constitutional Amendment number 3, allowing certain levy districts to levy annual taxes for certain purposes. That failed. And Constitutional Amendment number 4, increasing the amount of allowed reduction to certain dedicated funds when a budget deficit is projected. That one also failed. Oh, by the way, here in Baton Rouge, Carson Marcantel moved on to the runoff with Terrell T.K. Kent. This is for city judge. Erica Green was your winner in family court judge. Up at Central, Kimberly Kim Powers was elected to the Central School Board. The Cats millage, 10.6 mils, renewed 10 more years worth of Cats. Same thing up in Baker. A crime prevention district that was on the ballot in Concord Estates, that passed. I don't think I've ever seen a crime prevention district fail. And over at Ascension Parish, there will be a runoff for the Justice of the Peace, 3rd Justice Court between Linnell Johnson and Kim Landry. And I'm looking at the clock. We've got a lot more election results to recap throughout the morning. We're going to take a quick break here in just a second. After that break, when we come back, we're going to talk sports. LSU, once again, looked fantastic on defense. And once again, looked just absolutely abysmal on offense. Although they did start with some life before fizzling quickly. We'll break that down next here on Talk 107.3 FM. Also, talk a little bit about the Saints as well, as they came close but fell short too. Before we take that break, though, I want to remind you about the folks over at Complete Collision Center. They've got 2 locations, one on Plank Road in Zachary. You will also find them on Perkins, just east of Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. ICAR Gold Class certification. Not a whole lot of body shops get to tell you they have this. In fact, right out the blocks, I can tell you 85% of body shops cannot tell you this. The ICAR Gold Class certification, it means a little something different. It puts you in the top 15% of body shops nationwide. Your car might look the same when it's repaired after an accident, but it might not be as safe to drive. How do you know? Complete Collision Center can help you out here. They are a gold class collision repair shop according to ICAR. That means they've been trained on how to see hidden damage that you might not see. It's not just about the aesthetic. It's about the way your car is built. Crumple zones, different safety redundancies and the like. They know how to find them, they know how to get to the root of them, and they know how to fix them. They know what can be repaired and what needs to be replaced. They're trained on advanced safety systems. You want to learn more? Check out CompleteCollision.com. CompleteCollision.com. When you get into an accident, you got to know where you're going, and it's up to you. So call 768-9898, 768-9898, or check out CompleteCollision.com. I couldn't remember if you said Complete Collision was first or not. Okay. Are you sure we're up? Oh, there we are. Boop. I hopped in too soon. LRN. Oh, my bad. 16, 17, and 18. And then there's Saints cuts after that that might spill over to the 25 segment. Yeah. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in, sweetheart. Had the best time yesterday. God, it was fun. Fete Rouge was yesterday. We did some wine judging, and then we ate a lot of things that I'm going to have to explain to Vicki on Friday. So good. Actually going to talk a lot more about Fete Rouge at 25. Also, good morning, Renee, Clint, and Galen. Welcome in. Oh, I got to run across the hall real quick. Oh! What? I'm almost out the door. I got to go across the hall. Bro. I missed out on a bottle of Whistle Pig?
The problem is you haven't made the effort to get down there and address these people. You send agents down there. You got the biggest agency in all of Washington, I believe. go down there and put pressure on, economic pressure, hold back aid, remain in Mexico, back in place. The court said it. They don't do anything. Instead, they go up to Capitol Hill and say, tell me how hard they're working. Not effective, not okay.
Brian Kilmeade, weekday mornings from 10 to 1 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk. Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Right now, traffic looks great, though. No major issues out there, no crashes. Earlier breakdowns already gone out of the way. I-10 eastbound, Lobdell to College looks good. That includes the drive across the bridge, 6 minutes there. And I-10 west between Essen and LA1 also looks great at only 6 minutes. Here's a live look at the bridge, kind of close up here, but this is right around the Nicholson exit, looking good. And no problems coming in from Denham, only 9. Juventud to 10-12 split. So looks nice for our folks coming in from that area. And as I mentioned, the bridge is clear.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
For LSU?
Hey there, it's Lars Larson, host of the
16, 17, 18 first.
Honestly provocative talk radio, weeknights 8 to 11 on Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
Galen is 100% right. We'll dive into that in a minute, Galen. .616 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Golly, Saturday was setting up to be so perfect. First of all, shout out to Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo. Zoo run was Saturday morning. It was cold, especially out there by the zoo. You're getting out in the woods and whatnot. But yeah, fantastic way to start the morning off with the zoo run. Bit of an altered course because of the construction going on inside the zoo. Runners fired off at 8:15 was when they actually got started. The weather Saturday was perfect. The vibe on campus was perfect. It was like a slow build to the day. The crowd was already out there. What was this gesture? What am I, Sebastian Maniscalco? What is that? Sorry, if you're not watching on YouTube, you're not seeing what I'm... Anyway. The vibe on campus was just absolutely perfect. You could tell the excitement was brewing and building, right? LSU hits the field. Everything was in line for Saturday to have just been wonderful. The game started off wonderfully as well. Arkansas took an early 3-0 lead. LSU responded with another field goal, with a return field goal and then a touchdown. They're driving. An errant fumble in the red zone was like the end of it. After that, it just started to deflate from there. And then as the night wore on and things got colder, a lot of folks decided, I'm going home. And then by the time that Tiger Stadium, or the Tigers needed Tiger Stadium to come alive for the final few minutes of the game in overtime, wasn't what it was at the beginning. That's not why they lost, though. LSU football is going to actually end up finishing in last place in the SEC West after a 16-13 overtime loss to Arkansas Saturday. It is the second straight game the Tigers had multiple chances to win, but just could not move the football when it counted. Just couldn't get over the hump.
2 weeks in a row. We could have put them in a better position to win. They played their hearts out. Too many mistakes. 3 turnovers on offense. Down in the red zone, don't score again.
The 3 turnovers on offense, and Coach Ogeron still jumping on the grenade saying could have put them in a better position to win. That's going to be broken down throughout the day, throughout the week over on 104.5 ESPN, but we'll keep moving. Freshman quarterback Garrett Nussmeier played most of the game, threw for 179 yards and a touchdown, but he was picked off twice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great opportunity to get a chance to go play. It's football, You fight and you go through stuff and you learn off, things that go bad and you enjoy the things that go right. The key is to stay level-headed and just keep fighting.
So Max Johnson played the first 2 series. Nussmeier picked it up after that. There was no rotation beyond that. Nussmeier had the rest of the night. It's the third straight week that LSU has failed to score more than 2 touchdowns. Orgeron not happy with the play calling, including an ill-timed play call that had Ty Davis-Price lining up at quarterback that resulted in a turnover. Oh, okay. We are just straight up out of time. I'm looking up at the clock right now. I appreciate the heads up, Jake. Saints also lost yesterday. We'll pick it up with the Saints loss. Mark Ingram, though, made the record books. We'll talk about that a little bit right after the Fox Business Report here on Talk 107.3. Nope. Ingram first. Yeah, he was a little life in my fantasy roster for sure. I mean, the second I saw... So I play daily fantasy, so every single week it's who are you playing and where can you get value dollar-wise. So... Yeah, same thing with Cleveland's running back. Yeah, Cleveland sucked, but... Well, the Lions always suck, and the Steelers are just terrible this year.
They deserve to have a win, though. The fact that they got a draw against the Steelers is the new go-to destination for investment opportunities. And Weber is the new online tool that connects investors with innovative projects seeking capital on the island. Weber takes the guesswork out of investing in Puerto Rico, surfacing the insights.
I don't know that you can, and it's called a tie in American football.
Visit investbr.org/impeller and set up your account today to see what the app has to offer. Impeller, your hub for investment opportunities in Puerto Rico. Powered by Invest Puerto Rico.
Nope, we have a break here, don't we? And then traffic?
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor.
Pyong, 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 pyong.
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Traffic right now looks just fine. No crashes or breakdowns messing up your Monday morning drive. Looking good on the Spillway Bridge. Make sure you watch your speed there. I do believe it's about 60 miles an hour. But so far, so good. No major problems traveling through BR. Both sides of the road look great. 6 minutes from the split to LA1. Let's take you outside. Check on the west side. No problems at 415. Going to Lafayette. No big deal.
Excuse me. Whoa, that snuck up on me.
WBRZ traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to dive into some election results in just a minute. Want to wrap up with sports, though, as yesterday the Saints, 2 missed extra points from the Saints. Absolutely brutal. They fall the Tennessee Titans 23-21. Now, Mark Ingram, who recently returned to New Orleans, actually had a pretty good day. In the absence of Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram, now, if you look at just his rushing numbers, 14 carries for 47 yards. It's only 3.5 yards a carry. He had a touchdown on the ground, but he also posted up 4 receptions for 61 yards. All in, more than a 100-yard day for Mark Ingram. Great job. Here's the thing about those 47 yards, though. That was enough to put him in the Saints record books. Ingram passing up Deuce McAllister to be the Saints' all-time rushing leader. That being said, though, doesn't quell the sting of the loss.
Whether you win or lose, you have to have a 24-hour window, and you have to look at the film and analyze what you could have done better. And there's always a handful of plays throughout the duration of a game that make the difference in the outcome. You never know when those plays are going to arise or present themselves, so you have to be on point and focused at all times, because you never know if that play is going to make the difference in the game. So we just have to keep that in mind. We all have a great team, man. We have a great standard, and we're going to keep pushing each other to be the best we can. And we have to learn from this, grow from this. And yeah, it stings, you know what I mean? But we have to learn and grow from it, get better from it, and prepare for the next opponent.
Here's the thing, though. As a Saints fan, if you've been a Saints fan throughout the Peyton era, there are tells to know when things are about to turn. I know I'm extracting way too much out of this clip, but Sean Payton, talking about the loss yesterday, started getting real snippy, real short answers to questions when it comes to talking with reporters about his takeaways from the game.
Disappointing loss. I thought we came in with a good plan. We fought hard. That's what makes it difficult. Just in the end, too many little things, a couple false starts, critical situations, obviously the turnover, missed PATs, but, tip your hat. It was a hard-fought game. Any questions?
Were you able to tell what happened on the missed PATs?
Missed him left.
What was the explanation on the roughing passer?
No explanation.
So,
there wasn't an explanation. What do you want me to say? You want my opinion on it?
Yeah.
No opinion on
it. If Sean Payton's history in New Orleans has told us anything, this week's going to be fun. By the way, yesterday afternoon, that my wife and I were out at L'Auberge for an event, fantastic event. The Epicurean Society's Fête Rouge was yesterday. And while I was there, swung on by the sports book, I placed my first 2 legal wagers on sports. Went 1-1, by the way. Packers covered, Broncos did not. But super duper easy. Just walk right through the casino. The sports book's just, it's not like some elaborate thing. It's just a little window. You step up to the counter, tell the guy what you want. He gives you your ticket. Hopefully you come back a winner a little bit later on. That's split. Anyway, I was shocked with how easy it was. I was also shocked with how few people were there to place wagers. But in talking to the guy, as I understand that I was there late. The noon games, which included the Saints, he said the crowd was outrageous. So, it's here, y'all. Sports betting in Louisiana, it's here in a good way. All right, Richard Condon's coming up in our next segment, and we'll I have no idea what he wants to talk about. Probably a little bit about LSU. But I've got to go back to Saturday at the polls and make no bones about it. Oh, super huge in favor of constitutional amendment number 1. Also, make no bones about it, really knew that Saturday's election would have low turnout, which bore itself out a good bit. Fewer than 500,000 people cast votes statewide on constitutional amendment number 1, which failed. 52% voted no, 48% voted yes. We had the chance to put ourselves on par with the rest of the nation when it comes to sales tax collection and revenue that we generate from sales tax. One of the biggest things about this that we had the chance to remedy, when you have as many municipalities or taxing districts collecting taxes individually, yes, it's burdensome for businesses to have to know how to do business in Livingston versus EBR, or Livingston versus Ascension, or West Baton Rouge versus Point Capay. But bigger than that is the amount of money that's left on the table every single year because we just can't charge or collect accurately for internet sales tax. Moving to a centralized system would have done that. Moving to a centralized system, as 48 other states have, would have helped do that. Galen says on YouTube, Amendment 1's failure will reduce the sales tax collection for internet sales. Louisiana will be the only state in the U.S. not to have centralized sales tax collection. You can't fix stupid. Reduce isn't the right word. Keep it at its complete lag is the right phrasing there. But you're 100% right other than that. Yes, we refuse to get on board and do what's working everywhere else, up to and including Mississippi, who collects more than 10 times what we do when it comes to revenue from sales taxes over the internet. And if modern technology hasn't taught us that people are moving to internet sales, shouldn't the pandemic have taught us that? One of many things to unpack from Saturday's elections. We'll have to look at the rest of them, not this next segment. Condon's up next. We'll get back into it after that. But yeah, Richard Condon coming your way after we check news, traffic, and weather right here on Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. You see, don't forget penalties that killed the Saints. So I did not watch the. In all honesty, did not watch the Saints game. I went through the box score after the fact. Yeah, I was at an event with my wife, having a fantastic Sunday afternoon. Like, I'm still hyped this morning, still tired this morning, still hyped this morning about how much fun we had. It's good to, like, just, kids, stay home. We're going now. We're leaving. We're running away.
I saw the game. Basically, we got screwed by a roughing the passer call that didn't exist.
I would think, well, okay. It's
my take.
2 missed extra points don't help when you lose by 2.
Agreed. But
and
I think
there were a few other things that stood out in the box
score.
score.
The pain from us Saints fans are putting it on right now.
Yeah. I'm actually more pissed about Amendment 4 than I am any of the others. As much. Yo! 3/4 of a slice? That's what. That's more than I can do.
Wbrz traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Traffic right now looks just fine. No crashes or breakdowns messing up your Monday morning drive. Looking good on the Spillway Bridge. Make sure you watch your speed there. I do believe it's about 60 miles an hour. But so far, so good. No major problems traveling through BR. Both sides of the road look great. 6 minutes from the split to LA1. Let's take you outside. Check on the west side. No problems at 415. Going to Lafayette. No big deal.
See an accident? Report it at Wbrz Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Attorney Peyton Murphy has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary.
Honesty, integrity, attention to detail, and dedication. Lewis Mechanical Contractors has been providing top-quality plumbing services to Baton Rouge since 1960. Your peace of mind was their business then and still is now.
Whatever you need, repair, installation, replacement, they are the area's trusted source for all plumbing jobs, big and small. Call 927-6520. That's 927-6520.
This is Skip Bertman, and as a coach for over 50 years and the father of 4 daughters, we've had a lot of happiness and accumulated lots of stuff. Dependable Storage wants your stuff.
Sorry. Colton asks, can they not try for these amendments again when we have an election like for governor that'll have a higher turnout? I don't know if they have to run it through the legislature again or not, and if the legislature will get on board since people have already said no.
Oh, that's nice, man. Like that.
You good?
Good.
Awesome. Tell me we got something fun today.
I don't know.
Okay.
Jotted down a few things.
Yeah?
I'm sure a lot of people will argue at one point because my wife got on me last night. We got into a major spat.
Oh?
Yep. I didn't realize she had some Democratic genes in her, but she does. Took me 37 years of marriage to find that out. And I know I'm wrong here. I am wrong. It's just the way I feel.
Okay.
How you like that? I'm going to get hammered. You know how you people kind of like post stuff?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Okay. YouTube, you ready?
I'm going to get hammered. And I know it's me. Before you complain, you know what they're going to say?
What?
He's a Neanderthal. He's dragging his knuckles on the ground. He's got to be more well-rounded. He's not caring. He's cold-hearted. I'm telling you right now.
I'm just curious as to where it's going because you said
right
Democratic.
Now, you're totally disagree.
No,
you're going to correct me is what you're going to do.
Probably.
You're going to go, you're acting like 12, like a little spoiled kid. Watch you. I know you, Haldane. You want to impress your little posting people.
You're an entitled little snowflake, is that it?
You know, you little people that go by nicknames and stuff.
No,
People
I
ask
do the
me all the
nicknames
time,
thing.
is that your real name? No, I picked Dick Condom on purpose. Is that my real name? Sat down for hours. I got it.
Hey, you see the mugshot on the dude that did this?
Oh, dude, they all look the same.
Oh,
to me.
man, no, you gotta see the crazy eyes. It's so good.
Wait, like that guy. Wait, on that Adam Sandler movie, who's that guy with the crazy eyes?
Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, no,
That's a
it's
scary
way
dude there,
worse.
man.
Way worse. Oh, come on, where is it?
Poker face, love me some Gaga.
Damn right. Ah, man.
Love me a little Gaga.
637, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. All right, time to get this week started. I got a feeling this is going to be a good one. Richard Condon's in the house. Rich, what's happening, man?
Now, what did I tell you?
You told me I'm going to
People watch it on YouTube, okay? Yes. I'm getting ready to get hammered.
Yes, you are.
You follow me?
Yes.
They're going to tie both wrists to the back of donkeys' asses and whip them and let them go in opposite directions is what they're going to do.
A donkey's ass?
How you like that?
That would be the ass of an ass.
Now, look, me and my wife got into it last night, and I know everybody out there's got their own problems. They don't need to hear my domestic spats, right? Mm-hmm. So we got into it because I was a little bit aggravated, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a Neanderthal. I'm closed-minded, okay? So don't come up with any little witty post to get back at me. Here's my deal. So it's obvious that everybody who rides a bus in this town is the only one who voted on Saturday. 25,000. See, my problem is, and I know it's self-centered, and I'm a mean, cold-hearted individual. I want a catch bus to pick me up and bring me to a public school today and eat lunch, and then I'm going, all right, we're even. 43 years. And, you know, it used to be CTC. You remember with CTC?
I do not.
And then they switched it to CATS. Exactly right. Guess what? And back in 2012, they got $15 million. Yep. I've been hearing the same crap for 10 years. Well, we'll have more efficiency, and we'll be able to do the maintenance on the bus. Let me tell you something. I go down Perkins Road by the AutoZone, College and Perkins, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody's sitting there on the little bench waiting for the cash bus. I stop at Mary Lee's, get my barber some donuts and the kids that come in. I get my hair cut after shooting the breeze, right? Mm-hmm. I go back and that same person sitting on that cash bus. And I guarantee you, we passed this new millage, property taxes, so I'm out a few $100. My wife says it's not going to be any. You know, you're cold-hearted. What's wrong with you? These people need a place. They got to go to work. Oh, that's fun, but every time they get this money, somehow the money just dissipates, and it's the same issue. The buses still don't get there. They still broken down, and they talk about these new hubs. We're going to get this hub and that hub, and we're going to connect this part of town to this part of town. I hear it over and over again. It's like, here comes the catch director. It's over and over and over, Haldane. I'm just fed up with it.
I'm curious as to why you thought you were going to get pushback from me on this.
Well, because I got 43 years here, and not one of my kids ever attended a public school, and I've never ridden a bus. Nobody in my family. So I'm wondering if I can add up all of those property taxes, and I'm getting zero out of it. That's where here he comes. He's cold-hearted. He doesn't care about anybody.
Hang on.
I get it. I'm wrong. It's just, hey, let me tell you something.
No.
Wait. Let me get this out the way.
You're playing the martyr this morning.
No,
I'm
let me
with
tell you. Yeah, but let me tell you this.
you.
You know what makes it emphasize it for me?
What?
Here's what really ticks me off, because I see what's going on at the damn border. They coming in here. They don't be vaccinated. They're getting all this money. I see these people out there sitting on their ass at home with a couple of side jobs making more money than if they went to work every day. And it just pisses me off when I see all of that. Then I see more money and more money and more money, and nothing ever changes.
All right, you really left the rails in the second part of that.
All right, let me tell you something. Here's another thing, okay? They had a little event yesterday at Quarters. Department of Health Quarters, that little place off of Sherwood.
Yeah,
like where the kids
with
go.
the bowling alley and the laser tag.
I was just born at the wrong time. I never got a shot to go to Quarters. I just fell out of the Wild Mouse at Pontchartrain Beach. Now, let me tell you this. So the whole bit, they had this thing, right? So they promoted, and, for the most part, yeah, adults could get vaccinated, but it was for kids. That's why they had it at Quarters. All right, so 5 to 17 years of age, right? Okay, how many of those parents scooped and scored on that $100? I guarantee you, any kid that got you think an 8-year-old went shopping on the way home? How many packs of Marlboros and bottles of gin you think that $100 gift card went to? Seriously. What's the percentage of kids who the mom said, here's your $100, where do we want to go today? Come on, Haldane.
Scooped and scored. That was beautiful.
Scored, dude.
Oh,
man.
Now, look, wait. No,
wait.
All right, go ahead.
No, look. First off, I want to congratulate Jason Rollins, the coach at Southern, and the Southern football team. You know why? Because prime time and his players tried to stick their Jackson State flag right there on the logo, midfield after the game, right? And Southern players said, no. This is our house.
Yep.
I appreciate that. So good for him. Good for him and his play.
Oh, wow. Okay, I thought you were going to be sarcastic.
No, hell no. This is
a
our
brawl
house.
There's a brawl after the game. Okay.
No, that's what it was.
I'm glad to hear your take
and you
on
gotta
that.
win. You got to win with class, and you got to win with dignity, man. That's
come
somebody
on.
else's
This
house.
is prime time.
Hey, let me tell you something.
When has he ever been?
Let me tell you something. You can have volcano lamps lighting up your whole house and purple curtains, black light with some stone dude on there. It's your house.
Right.
Not going to comment. You invited me to your house. It's your house.
Yeah.
I got a problem with that. Here's another thing. Up until this point, Haldane going back to 67, my most disliked Saints player of all time, 2 of them. Johnny Poe and Russell Erxleben. Guess what? Johnny Poe ain't played since 67. I mean, 87. 87.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this. You know who it is now? Adam Troutman. Number 82, Adam Troutman. How many times is he going to cost his team a spot to win the game?
Yeah.
And by the way, Sean Payton's got to convert on a 2-point conversion before I die. He's like 0-8 on 2-point conversions there, Haldane. Here's another thing, Haldane. What are we giving out now? We're giving out participation trophies. Okay, fine. Today, every little kid can't hurt his feelings, even though mom and dad had no athletic ability at all. They expect him to win the Thorpe Award, right? So every kid's got to play. God bless them. They stopped cutting years ago. When you knew, guess what? You get cut, you work harder. You follow me? It motivated kids. So now what do? We're giving away participation playoff spots. Now, my kids are so removed from that time, you know.
You talking about LHSAA?
Yeah, I mean, 1 and 9 and 2 and 8 teams making a playoff. I don't give a damn if they only had 4 teams in 1A on a public side or 2 and 3A that were earning a playoff spot. Now they're giving out 1 and 9, 2 and 8 football teams making a playoff. What kind of message is that sending to the kids? Great, a losing team gets to run through the paper one more time.
Right.
It's a joke. Well, look, the division and all of that, I disagree with it. It makes it easier to win a state title, okay? It does. It makes it easier. So, but the fact that you allowing kids 1 and 9, boy, I'm glad they showed up for that one game and they got that big win.
You got 9 state championships now.
It's a joke.
At 9 state championships. And, yeah, we had Cade Wazan was on Friday setting the table for what was coming in prep football. And, yeah, there were 2 teams with 1 win and another team that only had 2 wins.
Well, I know we out of time almost.
No, we got 2 minutes.
But check this out. Now, we talk about this day in LSU football history.
Okay.
You know what, like, Brian, especially with our kids, you hope that one day, that one moment, they don't make a stupid decision, right?
Where you going
in
with
general?
this?
No,
Yeah,
no, we're
okay.
good. I mean, it's like right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time. You know what I mean? Life.
Yeah.
You know, you worry about breaking up with somebody when you were 16, and then you realize who you married and the children you have. How the whole thing where everything works out for the best.
Gotcha.
All right. It was 63 years ago today. LSU was undefeated, first national championship team. Right.
Okay.
They go to Starkville. Mississippi State's got it 4th and 1 at the LSU 40. Back then, you didn't have field goal kickers who could kick, 55, 60-yard field goals.
Right.
LSU stopped Mississippi State as they were driving late. LSU won that game 7-6. It's the closest any team came to LSU in that 58 championship season. Happened on this day in 58.
That's
if
awesome.
LSU doesn't make that stop, LSU's first national title comes in 2003, and the whole legacy of the Bandits and the white team and the GOAT team and Paul Dietel and all of that, it never happened, man. Life sometimes, it's all about inches, how it can change everything.
Absolutely. That's why football's so beautiful. I don't know why you thought, taking it all the way back to the top, I don't know why you thought you'd get pushback from me on cats.
Well, no, because, I mean, the response I got from my wife last night was, you can't, those people, it has nothing to do with that. But I heard that in 2012. I heard that as an LSU student. I keep hearing that, and it's the poor same people waiting forever.
You can have compassion for those people and still say cats is inefficient. You can actually have more compassion for the people who ride the bus by saying you deserve better.
You know what? You and I right now need to support one another. You and I.
I got your back.
No, not on that one. On one final comment.
Oh, what you got?
You work the ULM game next week, 8 o'clock kickoff.
Oh,
I work the ULM game, 8 o'clock kickoff.
Hey,
anybody
you come
but
in after I'm
ULM.
done.
Yeah, but anybody but ULM. I'm going to tell you, hey, I'm going to award my Salesman of the Year award. Whoever can get face value if they got LSU tickets and they not going. You my Salesman of the Year.
You're not getting that. You're not getting face value for sideline passes this weekend.
I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks, babe.
Always appreciate you, Rich. He's Richard Condon from Eagle 98.1 Condon Uncensored. Hey, let's talk about the Cats millage being re-upped. The renewal passed on Saturday as part of your ballot. I say your ballot for the 8 to 9%. Didn't get a number on final percentages, but for those who actually showed up and voted, it was on your ballot. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the 4 constitutional amendments and probably a little bit more as New Orleans reelected their mayor. Phase 2. It's now term 2. We're talking about that after Your Money Now on Talk 107.3. Thanks, Ben. Thank you, Rich. No, the Cats thing pisses me off. Look. It's not going to get better unless we demand better. I'm all about having public transportation. All about it. But you know because the people who don't have it need to get to work. I understand that.
Another reason we're getting an argument, because Sue's famous for this, man. All the propositions, yes. A lot of people don't want to be bothered about reading exactly what that means. A lot of people.
How did you vote on one?
No.
All right. Why? What did one do? That was the one that was going to centralize sales tax collection.
Oh, no, I got that. Okay. Yeah.
The levy district. Yeah. The levy district was 3. That was 3. That was. Oh, I got to go stop it. I got to get my water. It's in the freezer.
Briefly, there was a breakdown by the 1012, but that's a thing of the past. Here's I-12 at O'Neill. folks are headed out and about right now. The drive time only bumped up by just about 1 minute between Cuban and the split now at about 10. So we're going to start to see some delays around range 2. Looks great if you're leaving the area. 45 to Lafayette, 51 to Kenner. So if you have somewhere to be outbound, not an issue currently.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
I'm Jennifer Kushinka with Your Money Now. The Biden administration is closely watching the situation unfolding in China with the world's most indebted property developer, according to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who warned that its struggles to pay back billions in loans could have repercussions for the global economy. Evergrande, China's second-largest property developer, is on the hook for more than $300 billion to creditors. Yellen told CBS if China's economy were to slow down more than expected, it could have consequences for many countries that are linked to China through trade. Disney and Marvel's Eternals took a steep drop in its second weekend.
What spots do I owe you?
You owe me Muya.
Muya, I got Muya right here. We can keep it in order today. It's not bad to have it once a week in the 6 o'clock hour, but every day? Say again?
VRPG will be the next one.
Okay.
If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance, and SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month.
Not in perfect health?
All right.
SelectQuote found Tanya, 40, who has type 2 diabetes, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $32 a month.
We shop companies like Protective, Prudential, American General, and others to find you the company with the best rates. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. For your free quote, call 1-800-714-6633. That's 1-800-714-6633. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-714-6633. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
.652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Such a simple election Saturday. I don't know how we found a way to get so much wrong on so small a ballot. By the way, thanks again to Richard Condon for stopping by for Condon's Countdown. He was all over the place. I don't know why he thought I was going to disagree with him about the Cats millage, which, by the way, passed. And to revise and extend my remarks on that, though, I'm not anti-public transportation, but you can't expect change, expect better, expect something more efficient if you keep doing everything the exact same way. There's got to be some level of motivation to change things, and we're not going to see that. If we have time, we'll dive back into Cats on the back end of this. There's other stuff to talk about within Saturday's elections. 3 of the 4 constitutional amendments on the ballot failed. You heard about it in our news at the bottom of the hour. Amendment 1 was the one. Amendment 1 was the one that was going to change things dramatically. Centralizing sales tax collection, as you see in 48 other states. It was going to increase revenue without increasing our tax burden. And I mean increase revenue greatly without increasing our tax burden. It was going to eliminate the franchise tax as well, if I'm not mistaken. It was going to make it that much more user-friendly when following tax codes to start a business or continue running a business. If you run a business that operates in multiple parishes or under multiple tax entities, you do run into problems, and you will continue to now because Amendment 1 failed. 52-48 was your final score on this one. Now, it is worth noting that here in East Baton Rouge Parish, we did our job. Here in East Baton Rouge Parish, if you want to extrapolate our data, Amendment 1 passed 65 to 35. Not bad. Wasn't enough, though, because you had greater turnout down in New Orleans for the mayor's election. And I get to hear some of the ads that were against Amendment 1. The level of fear-mongering that went into this. I expect it when you have, like, candidates in a race. But something that was going to serve the state overall. You're hard pressed not to wake up Sunday morning thinking this is why we can't have nice things. Political analyst Bernie Pensinet says many local governments oppose the measure, and this is what went into those fear ads. Was local governments not wanting to give up their own control, so they created a scenario where the state government was going to somehow morph into some monolith that is here to take all of your money. Pensinet says they would lose out on tax revenue locally.
You can look at the rural areas. The further you got away from big cities, the worse it did. Of course, Orleans, with a large African-American population, kicked it pretty good.
I thought we were past this, though, because of the way it passed the state legislature and was signed off on by the governor. Oh, by the way, Troy says, I believe the franchise tax phase-out was tied to Amendment 2. You're right. I was working that out in my head as I was saying it out loud, and I was like, that doesn't sound right. The thought that local entities, local taxing entities, were not going to give up control was a legitimate fear during the legislative session. Let's not forget, this proposal did not just end up on our ballot Saturday out of nowhere. It started in the state legislature. It started by passing both chambers of our state legislature and being signed off on the governor. And when the governor signed off on it, he says this is, at worst, revenue neutral. That was not the messaging that went into it. Now, along with saying no to 1, which would have centralized sales tax collection, everyone said yes to 2. Which lowered the maximum allowed rate of income tax. That was kind of a no-brainer to me. It passed 54-46 overall. 54-46 overall. Here in East Baton Rouge, it was, I got to refresh my screen again. I don't know why my computer locks up like this. 58-42. That one's not a surprise to me. Because you told everybody in bold print, lower your taxes. Easy peasy. Amendment 3 failed. Amendment 3 would have allowed certain levy districts to levy an annual tax for certain purposes. I'm not shocked that this one failed. Nobody had a strong take on it one way or another who was outside of a parish that would have a levy district in it. No one had a really solid take on that. But I'm not shocked because the verbiage there was allow for more taxes. Now, as ticked as I am about Amendment 1 failing, I am equally ticked about Amendment 4 failing. And honestly, everyone across the board should have done a better job of preaching how important Amendment 4 was. Amendment 4 increased the amount of allowed reductions to certain dedicated funds when a budget deficit is projected. Anybody who's followed Louisiana's legislature, Louisiana's budget, Louisiana's governor for the past 2 decades knows full well when things get tight, where do you cut? Everybody, if you're in traffic right now, sing it along with me. Where do you cut? Health care and higher ed. It's a song we hear more times than Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift isn't a song. She's an artist. It's a song we hear more times than Shake It Off. That's a dated reference already. Health care and higher ed. Health care and higher ed. Every time somebody wants to tighten the budget, that's where the budget cuts come from. Governor Bobby Jindal became hated because anytime he wanted any kind of fiscal tightening, they couldn't trim it anywhere else, so it was to the detriment of health care and higher ed. Saturday, we had the opportunity to walk into the voting booth and say, you know what? Your pork is up too. We can walk into the voting booth and take a shot at the whole system saying when we want to tighten things up, when we run into a crisis, if, God forbid, there's another pandemic and there's not rescue plan dollars and just countless federal dollars being flung around like soup in a Dunkin' Donuts, that doesn't make sense. If we run into these tight spots again, we can hit everything equally to tighten our belts. Well, no. We actively said on Saturday, we don't want to tighten up to where we don't have to take shots at healthcare and higher ed. 72% of voters voted no on Amendment 4. 72% of voters said we don't like healthcare and higher ed. Here comes CBS News.
Protect your retirement. The Presley Group time, 7 o'clock.
These have Richard's name on them. These have Richard's name on them.
The new flavor of talk. COVID concern. We're going to see a post-holiday spike. There's no question about that.
9-year-old dies from concert crush injuries.
I'm angry. This has altered our family.
Blast in a British taxi.
Terrorism police are leading an investigation.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. COVID cases rising, a major holiday approaching. It's a story we've told before in this pandemic, and it's once again. CBS's Laura Podesta.
Ooh.
Officials are worried about a post-Thanksgiving spike.
After a 2-month decline, the nation's COVID-19 numbers are again rising.
There are some parts of the country that still haven't had their Delta wave.
Oh, he wasn't down there.
Former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb
I didn't know anybody was back there. You just open a door like in the random darkness of a corner. Clinton says we have to talk about this offline. Talk about what, the amendments? I'm always down for that. I ended up only using one of those 3 cuts, and I'm fine with that. Hang on to cut 5, though. Yeah. The more I think about it, the more pissed I get. No, we had an opportunity to do something. This is why we can't have nice things. We don't deserve nice things. Scoop and score.
Case numbers rise in that country. Now to Houston, where the boy who was in an induced coma after the concert tragedy has now died. Ezra Blunt, who had been at the show with his father, was 9 years
No, Debbie. I'm sorry, Debbie. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. We have multiple outlets that explain these sorts of things, and I know you personally are dialed in enough to know that where you can find those outlets that explain these stuff in real language. Constitutional Amendment number 4 increases the amount of allowed reductions to certain dedicated funds when a budget deficit is projected.
Cow.
Oh, snap. Imagine this. Do other states vote on stuff like we do? I assume so. You have a different perspective on which one, Clinton? Anna Payne, people don't educate themselves enough. They read the headline and not the full article to get the full story, or in this case, the detail of the amendments. I don't know why that's acceptable. So Anna's got the same take as Debbie then. I don't look at myself as being exceptionally smart, but Amendment 4 to me was pretty straightforward. That being said, we did our job. Amendment 1 passed in East Baton Rouge Parish. And I tell you what, if you don't pass Amendment 1, Amendment 4 becomes more critical. If you do pass Amendment 1, Amendment 4 means a little bit less. Because you're less likely to run into a budget crisis if you are taxing and collecting taxes enough. Hey, were those, I brought them back down. Were those your headphones? Yeah. So the Mississippi electorate is smarter? Yeah. They got their sports book open sooner. It's not acceptable. I know it's not acceptable, but there's no other way to change it. Yeah, I got members of my own family just vote no all the time. Oh, Byron. Okay, Byron. Seems to me that the First Amendment failed because the public doesn't trust the state to be fair with allocating the revenue. Big, that's true. I guess you mean if that's true. If that's true, we have bigger problems than the failure of it to pass. But it's not true. It's not true because of if you can take which parishes where it passed versus which parishes where it failed. You're talking about parishes where you see a higher dependency upon state unemployment, a higher dependency upon any kind of state revenue to get back to you in the first place. So they're already trusting the state with their livelihoods. Gotcha. Booyah. Hang on to them. I don't know when. Just leave them open. We might not get to them at all. I don't know. 706, 707 now. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. We're talking about flu season with Dr. Katie Taylor in our Medical Monday segment coming up next. We're also talking about the bad beat at the polls on Saturday. Amendments 1, 3, and 4 fail to pass on your ballot. Stephen Wagusespack from LABI is going to hop on board to commiserate with me. Hopefully not trigger me too much. If you're watching us on YouTube, I got a little fired up right there. This is why we can't have nice things. Anyway. We had the opportunity to take the amount of internet sales tax that we collect and multiply it by 10. We said no to that. We also had the opportunity to affect more than just healthcare and higher ed when it comes time to tighten our belts. We simultaneously told the state you can't have more money and you can't spread the wealth or spread the penalties when you have to tighten your belt. It takes a special kind of convoluted to say those two things in the same breath. No, we're not going to give you more revenue. Also, no, you can't affect where you're going to take that take the cuts from. Anyway. We got a lot of ground to cover this hour. We'll get into it as the hour wears on. Right now, though, I got to tell you about the folks over at Mooyah Burgers, Fries, and Shakes. All right, normally I'm telling you about the great burger you can get, but now, today, this morning, I'm telling you about sharing that great burger with a client. Now's the time of year where you might be out buying your clients Christmas presents. How about doing this instead? How about instead of a tin full of candied pecans for everybody in the office? How about you order up a burger bar and send it over to your client's office? Buy them lunch one day. Treat them with a little Mooyah catering. Mooyah.com/catering is where you'll find it online. Different experience altogether. You got the full burger bar, so you're dressing your burger out the way that you want it, or more to the point, the way that everybody in the office wants theirs individually. You'll still get the great ingredients, the Tillamook cheese, the top-notch fresh vegetables, freshly baked potato buns, and certified Angus beef. Give them a call, 663-6632, 663-6632. Flip the script a little bit when it comes to how you're treating your clients this holiday season. Mooyah.com/catering. Top stories and trending. Let's go.
Now, top stories and trending. 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. On Talk 107.3 FM. The most trusted name in news. Brought to you by Complete Collision Center. With locations in Zachary and Baton Rouge. Don't let who you choose to repair your vehicle be your second accident. Choose CompleteCollision.com. I want to know absolutely everything that's happened up to now.
The Baton Rouge Fire Department arrested a man after investigators say he set a house on fire in North Baton Rouge while people were inside the building. Authorities say 54-year-old Audrey Frederick was taken into custody Saturday morning for allegedly setting the fire at 130 St. Vincent de Paul Drive. The home belonged to It Takes a Village, a local nonprofit. Executive Director of It Takes a Village, Tiffany Simpson, said the two men living inside made it out of the building unharmed. A 10-year tax renewal funding the public transit system here was approved by voters on Saturday. Voters in the city of Baton Rouge and in Baker backed the CAT's property tax renewal, which costs about $100 for each $100,000 of a home's assessed value. The average homeowner may pay about $200 a year for the tax, $200 a year for a bus we're never going to ride. Fewer than 25,000 votes were cast for the ballot items. Voters in Baton Rouge approved the tax renewal by about 59%. About 68% of voters approved the property tax renewal in Baker. The property tax funds the capital area transit system operations. Louisiana Workforce Commission was flagged again by the state auditor's office for failings handling the unemployment claims from the start of the COVID lockdowns in March until the end of July 2021. Possible violations include a nearly $3 million payout to people enrolled in multiple programs offered by the agency. As a result, claimants were given more than the allowed amount of federal and more than the amount allowed by federal and state law. In the audit period from March of 2020 to April of 2021, just under 1,898,400 improper payments were issued, violating federal law. The state legislator's office started the audit due to the alarming amount of benefit increases to the numerous amount of applicants for pandemic financial assistance. Louisiana's Department of Health reported 213 patients in the hospital statewide with COVID on Friday. That is the lowest number in the hospital since the state started tracking numbers back on March 24th. Now, to be fair, the last 2 weeks we've been under that number the entire time. March 24th we were at 271. So every time we report a new low, it is the lowest new low since tracking began. Along with the hospitalization number, the state reported 726 new cases on Friday. It is important to note that number was over the course of 2 days. There were no numbers reported on Thursday as it was Veterans Day. To continue the good news, the state is also now showing just 3 parishes still at the highest level of risk of spread. Lafourche, West Carroll, and Union are still in the red there. 20 parishes are listed as having substantial risk. All remaining parishes, including East Baton Rouge, are listed as moderate risk. In fact, the only parish in our immediate listening area still qualifying as substantial is Point Capee. Grabbing this one from the Advocate. A shooting that left a teenage girl dead and her mother and brother injured Friday took place after the three went to a home in Baton Rouge's Glen Oaks' neighborhood looking for a fight, so says the EBR Sheriff's Office. According to spokeswoman Casey Rayburn Hicks, 16-year-old Tremaya Lindsay, her mother, and Lindsay's 20-year-old brother Tremaine Lindsay drove to confront someone who lives in the 6,000 block of Avocado Drive. Once there, Tremaine Lindsay allegedly got out of the car with an assault rifle and began shooting. Hicks said a relative of the resident grabbed a gun and returned fire, hitting all three in the car. Tremaya Lindsay was declared dead at the scene. Tremaine was rushed to a hospital in critical condition. The mother was also taken to the hospital for treatment, is expected to recover. Once released, Hicks said Tremaine Lindsay faces 5 counts of attempted first-degree murder and aggravated criminal damage to property. That's a look at your top stories. Here's a look at what's trending this morning. Joey Chestnut was in town last weekend. He was actually competing with our own T-Bob Hebert. Competitive eater Joey Chestnut lost at his own game Saturday afternoon and was out-eaten by winner Jeff Esper. Fat Boys Pizza held their second annual 2-foot slice pizza eating competition before the LSU-Arkansas football game. If you weren't out there, they did this right in front of Mathern's Market over there off Nicholson Drive, right across from Tiger Stadium. It was a heck of a lot of fun. Had some dude in a straw hat was working the microphone, working the crowd. He was fantastic. Chestnut placed second, eating 4.5 slices in 10 minutes. Now, 2 years ago, Chestnut ate 6.5 slices of pizza during that same competition. It was held in Metairie at the time. Our own T-Bob Hebert was in the competition, which is to say he was on the stage at the same time as the other guys. T-Bob reportedly finished 3/4 of a slice of pizza, which, if you've ever seen those 2-foot slices, that's more than I could eat. All right, we're way late for a break. We got to talk flu season, flu shots, all things flu. Medical Monday is next on Talk 107.3. Byron, you say you don't believe that either. Why not? It's based off of numbers of unemployment assistance versus the parishes where this failed. ABR is an outlier in this one, but outside of EBR, that's where it's at. It's Dr. Taylor. Katie. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying what I was saying was untrue. Yeah, no, I don't think the state would be unfair. But the perception was there. Dude, I was listening to, I guess I could say the name of the station. I was listening to Max 94.1 on Friday afternoon. And I got to get back into it later. Flu season is upon us. It is time to talk about it. I've already gotten my flu shot for the season. How about you? Welcoming in Dr. Katie Taylor from Our Lady of the Lake to talk about this year's flu season. Dr. Taylor, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? I'm
doing very, very well. Okay, let's start with rewinding the clock to last year. We saw a remarkably light flu season. COVID mitigation played out in a way that affected the flu season in a positive way last year. Are we expecting the same this year, or as more of us return to our lives, are we expecting the flu to come back in a big way?
Yeah, we are a little fearful that we may have an uptick in flu this year. We don't have mask mandates. People are freely going to Christmas parties, having Thanksgiving gatherings. So we anticipate that this could be a worse flu year than last year.
So what do you say to people that don't take the flu seriously? Like, I've had it before, wasn't that bad?
Yeah, so it's just like COVID, right? Like, it could be bad, it could not be bad. Now, usually flu, we know more vulnerable populations are the people that are going to get it worse. Mm-hmm. But look, we see people in the ICU on ventilators from having the flu. A lot of people who are overweight, they end up in the ICU with the flu. So it's not without its risk. And protecting ourselves, the people that are going to have mild symptoms, helps us from giving it to those most vulnerable populations.
We're getting pretty well versed on this, aren't we? I mean,
yes.
It's an unfortunate thing, but we are getting well versed on it.
Yeah, now that everybody's heightened awareness with COVID, it's the same mitigation strategies for the flu. So we know this now. It's not like something novel that we have to talk about every year with the flu, because we've been living COVID for a year and a half, almost 2 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I want to talk about the flu shot itself, the flu vaccine. And how do you respond to the folks that say, I took the flu vaccine and it gave me the flu?
So there's two parts to that question. So one, the flu shot cannot give you the flu. It introduces viral proteins from a wide range of flu variants that we look at what flu variants have been circulating in Australia because they have the flu before us, and what flu strain circulated the year before, which was minimal. And then they come up with the flu vaccine. So it's viral particles. They cannot give you the flu. Now, some people end up, just like when you got the COVID vaccine, you saw some people who got COVID because they were exposed to COVID around the time they got the vaccine. So that still happens with the flu. And unfortunately, the flu vaccine on a good year is only about 60% effective, which is way less than we had with COVID. So you can still get the flu even if you've gotten the vaccine, but it gives you a much better chance.
It's about the timing of it, though, when you're exposed, correct?
Right, exactly. You have to. It's going to take your body 14 days to respond to that flu vaccine, just like it does to the COVID vaccine. So if you're exposed to flu in those 14 days, then you can still get the flu.
What about the nasal mist?
The nasal mist is a live vaccine. Not that many people get it. It's usually we do it for kids, but it can give you the flu, but that's why we don't give it to vulnerable populations who would get that. But it is a very weakened form of the virus, but it is a full virus in all its integrity.
What determines, well, I mean, the mist you probably give those that are scared of needles and don't want the shot, but what determines whether or not we're getting a live virus versus what the flu shot is today versus the mRNA that we get from COVID-19? What goes into that process to determine how the vaccine's created?
So a lot of different things about how the vaccine is created. The mRNA vaccine is a very sneaky way, but awesome way that we actually can show our bodies a great amount of the protein because our bodies that mRNA is the instructions for the protein. So our body makes those proteins, and it's a big quantity of protein, so our immune system recognizes it, and that's why some people felt sick after they got it. The flu vaccine is a protein directly, and it's not as high of a quantity. So those two are similar, and it's kind of what technology is available and what we're targeting. With COVID vaccine, we targeted one protein. With the flu, we have to do a various number of proteins because we have to cover a wide variety of strains of the flu. Live viruses, it's usually for kids. They do have a very robust response, but we cannot give that to certain people who are vulnerable, people on chemotherapy, pregnant people, those same people that would have qualified for the booster up front. They should not be getting any live vaccines, and usually when your doctor prescribes you one, they are aware of all those things.
That actually walks me up to my next question is, are there certain groups of people that are more vulnerable to not just contracting the flu, but to the effects as well?
Absolutely. And there actually is a augmented flu vaccine that sort of, without getting into too much details about the actual vaccine, it helps the people who don't have good responses to the flu vaccine respond better. It's kind of combined with another antigen that boosts the immune response, and we give that to the elderly population. So those people that don't respond as well to the flu vaccine are at higher risk for the effects of flu if they do get it.
Okay, let's talk about the flu and COVID at the same time if we could. And Dr. Katie Taylor from Our Lady of the Lake is our guest for Medical Monday. So we see a lot of similarities, but the flu and COVID are very, very different things. Can you explain some of the differences and why they're I don't want to say treated differently, but the level of the heightened awareness has definitely been there for COVID a lot more than any specific emphasis we put on the flu in the past.
Yeah. So the two differences that I'll highlight is one, COVID is way more contagious than the flu. So, the mitigation strategies we were doing last year, well, that's way beyond what we need to do for the flu. The mask would help flu, universal mask wearing would cut flu down way down because it's just not as contagious. And then the second part is COVID is a lot more deadly than the flu overall and has a lot of other serious complications that we don't necessarily see with the flu, such as the the clots that you can get when you have COVID, myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart that you can get with COVID. So COVID needs to be taken a little more seriously, and the fact that it's a pandemic because nobody's immune system has seen it before, so we're all trying to get exposed and get vaccinated so we can fight that off.
Dr. Katie Taylor from Our Lady of the Lake is our guest. We're talking about the flu and its correlation with COVID-19 as we are still in the pandemic. So if you contract the flu or you start having symptoms, is there a way to tell the difference in symptoms between I think I have the flu versus I think I have COVID?
Unfortunately, I'm going to say no, because even now it's hard to tell whether you have a cold or you have COVID, right?
Right.
So if you have flu-like symptoms, you very well could have COVID. What you're going to have to do is go get tested. And to be honest with you, you're going to want to know if you have the flu or COVID, because you can give that to vulnerable people and put them at risk. So either one of those, you should be, taking precautions not to give it to other people. So if you feel like you have the flu or COVID, flu-like illness, fever, rhino, sore throat, those type of things, then go get tested.
Well, and regardless, whichever one you have, you should be doing the same thing either way. Getting tested,
Exactly.
but staying distant from others, not going to work, those sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. You should be. Now, you're not as contagious. You're not contagious as long with the flu, up to 7 days. So you may not have to stay at home as long, but you still should be following those isolation guidelines.
So we've seen a lot of news reports about the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine. Let's just to recap. Is it safe to get the flu vaccination at the same time or within a few weeks of receiving a COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do it at the same time. Some people choose to do it separately. They don't, just to maybe not have that one day of feeling so crummy if they've got to go to work the next day. But you can definitely get them at the same time. That goes for kids and adults.
With the kids, I mean, we've just now seen age 5 to 11 added into the mix as well. So what about with the flu shot? I believe it goes all the way down to age 2?
Yes. So flu shot, definitely you can get. I already gave my daughter, she's a toddler, I gave her flu shot. So yes, you should be getting your, and actually I think it may go down even further than that because my kid is 1 year old. So I think it's, and I don't know the age cutoff offhand right now, but definitely all your kids should be getting flu shot, because guess what? The people that transmit it most to each other are kids.
Absolutely. Kids are gross. I've got 3 of them. and no firsthand.
I've been having daycare illness since my child started daycare. I know how it is.
Oh, they're just little petri dishes just playing amongst each other. So going back up to the top of the conversation, and just to reiterate this, if I get the flu shot, that doesn't necessarily make me completely exempt from getting the flu this year. Right,
exactly. So it definitely makes your chances better, and it probably will make your symptoms milder, just like COVID vaccine. So definitely something you should do. But, if someone has the flu, the vaccine doesn't give you a free ticket to go hang out with people, someone that's sick,
Right. Yeah. It reduces your risk, but doesn't eliminate it. Now, one more on the flu versus COVID comparison here. You can contract COVID and not know it for a full week before showing symptoms. Is that the same for the flu, or does it hit you more immediately?
It's sooner. So it's within 1 to 4 days. So you're not having that up to 14-day incubation time that COVID has. So you should know sooner if you've been contacted with flu, that if you're going to get it.
If anybody wants to learn more, where should they go?
The lake has some very good informative sites, and I've helped actually do some informatics for them. So you can actually just go to the lake's Facebook page. They'll have a lot of links for that. The CDC is another place if you want a little bit more in-depth information.
She is Dr. Katie Taylor with Our Lady of the Lake. We greatly appreciate the time. Yeah, I had my flu shot about a week ago, and so I should be good to go in a week. I mean,
good.
2
Glad
full
to hear
weeks,
it.
right? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the time this morning. I appreciate you hopping on board.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We got a couple minutes before news, and then in our next segment, we're going to talk with Stephen Wagusespack from LABI, and hopefully won't trigger each other too much when it comes to Constitutional Amendment 1 failing over the weekend. Talk 107.3 FM and Citizens Bank and Trust are in the spirit to rock your holidays with $15,000 cash. 15K holidays coming your way. What would you do with an extra 15 grand? Head to talk1073.com to register to win $15,000 cash. This is powered by Citizens Bank and Trust and Talk 107.3 FM, the new flavor of talk. After we check in with Stephen Wagusespack, we'll hit Your Money Now. After Your Money Now, we'll have The Outside In. Every day, The Outside In is brought to you by the folks over at Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. You can check them out online at brptlake.com, brptlake.com. What are you going to learn when you get there? Well, give you some spoilers right now. You're going to learn Baton Rouge Physical Therapy basically introduced physical therapy to Baton Rouge. They've been around for 60 years. They've got a wealth of experience and knowledge. They know how to get to the root of your problems. They're going to sit you down. They're going to truly understand your unique circumstances, what got you to where you are, and how to get you back out of it again. They're going to go over your comfort level of your physical limitations and how to work through them. But they can't do it unless you contact them. So, want a free screening? Yeah, 6 locations throughout the greater Baton Rouge area, complimentary screening. In order to know which one to go to for your screening, call 917-9185 to find the location nearest you. 917-9185. Or, like I said, check them out online at brptlake.com. brptlake.com. They bring you The Outside In every single day because that's where you'll find them. They're in EBR, but they're also in Ascension and Livingston parishes. Get back to being your best you with Baton Rouge Physical Therapy. All right, coming up on 731 at Talk 107.3 FM, let's check news, and Stephen Wagusespack's next. Hey, Galen's getting his flu shot today. So the cronyism topic, yeah, I'm this close to just ripping it open as well. It's dangerous. It's irresponsible because I can't tell you who, what, when, where, or how much is being stolen on a local level. But I can think of no other real reason other than, hey, you know, if we pass Amendment 1, you're going to collect more in taxes. More is going to come back to you. Yeah. But we're going to have it all in the books, and we're going to have to be transparent about it. Palermo's talk about it right now.
Many local governments oppose the measure over concerns they would lose out on tax revenue.
You can look at the rural areas. The further you got away from big cities, the worse it did. Of course, Orleans, with a large African-American population, kicked it pretty good.
Amendment 2 passed as it will lower individual income tax.
Bunch of shit. Medical Monday with Dr. Katie Taylor.
Retrial opponents say that will create chaos in dockets statewide. Ward disagrees. It would not cause chaos. It would cause a little bit of extra work. Some parishes might have more than others. The state Supreme Court will decide the matter in 2022. I'm Kevin Gallagher. Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Prepare to slow down by the 10-year-old split to College Drive on I-10 westbound.
Yeah, I wanted to do Mathern's when I was talking about Joey Chestnut. Damn it. Yeah. Oh, so you've seen Boardwalk Empire too? I have not seen Boardwalk Empire. Oh, the I get it. I don't have to have seen it to get that joke. Took me a second though. I'm slow on a Monday. Let's go. How'd Jefferson Parish do? There he is.
Come explore Total Wine and More, now open in Baton Rouge at the Siegen Village Shopping Center. Drink responsibly, B21.
Bringing you the news you can use with Brian Haldane and common sense for your dollars and cents.
I'm Mathern's first.
Talk 107.3, the new flavor of talk.
.737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Tough beat on Saturday, especially when it comes to Amendments 1 and 4. I had no idea I would be this ticked about Amendment 4, and yet here we are. Making a big push for Amendment 1 was the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, along with what felt like just about everybody else. Joining us now to talk about it is Stephen Wagusespack. Stephen, it was in the back of all of our minds. We were hoping it wouldn't rear its ugly head. It made it so far through the process, and then in the end, what happened Saturday?
Well, let's go good news first. The good news is at least we had great domination by LSU and the Saints this weekend to soften the blow.
You just twist that knife. Just twist it.
Yeah, no, Brian, look, the Constitutional Amendment 1, which was the centralized sales tax amendment, lost by about a 52-48 number. It actually performed well in East Baton Rouge area. This is one of the top performing. This and Lafayette were the two top performing cities, localities in the state on this. And so before we say anything, I want to thank you for that, because I don't think there's any doubt that the access you provided folks to talk about the importance of this was huge, was a game changer. So thank you for your efforts for allow us to kind of talk about why this issue is important. So, the other takeaway I have is look, man, reform in Louisiana, let me give you a little breaking news here. It's hard to do, okay? And so this is by far the farthest this issue has ever gotten. It's been a long-time issue that has haunted this state's economy. We got really close to getting it done. Look, is it a bummer? 100%. But do I think this is a strong step to where, at some point in the near future, we're going to find a solution to this? I think if you get this close to an issue this, reform-oriented, it's discouraging, but also it has to give you a little hope. And so, we'll look our wounds, we'll figure out what the big issue is. I mean, the big takeaway is, one, New Orleans, obviously, Mayor Cantrell really went hard against it. And, the Orleans Parish turnout was one of the only areas in the state where they had a mayor's race up, a city council race up. So it was kind of a perfect storm of she was the most vocal opposition, and they had a lot of things on the ballot. So that's one thing. And then if you look in the really rural parishes, kind of all across the hinterlands, there were several of them where this came in under 50%, and not one parish really was a huge issue, but you stack them up, they became an issue. And I think that is just, I've been around the state a lot over the last year or so, talking about many issues, including this one. And, we live in Baton Rouge, and so we're used to kind of how the Capitol works and how it doesn't work and all that. If you live in rural Louisiana, far away from Baton Rouge, you were raised to distrust the Capitol. You're raised to distrust, Baton Rouge's ability to share with the rest of the state, et cetera. I don't think it's a fair reputation, but that is a reputation that permeates in a lot of these rural areas. And so, you kind of have to overcome that scar tissue on something like this. So I think it's a collection of the New Orleans perfect storm, some of the rural distrust on anything coming out of the Capitol, including something like this. And the last thing is it's a complicated issue to explain in a soundbite. So all those things got there. So at the end of the day, it's frustrating, but look, really proud of the bipartisan coalition that worked its tail off, proud of how close this got, and also proud of the fact that CA2 did get through. So, was able to soften the blow on something like this and kind of create that foundation for tax reform that we can begin to build off of.
No, you're 100% right about CA2. But with Amendment 1, though, I've got a couple more questions before we close the book on it. First of all, am I being bitter, or should we start calling for audits everywhere? Because, as far as I'm concerned, if you're voting no on this, what are you hiding? Like, why do you not want to turn your books over? Why do you not want to hand things over? Am I being bitter here, or is this something we're going to see in the very near future?
Well, if you and I were having this radio interview Saturday evening around midnight, I might have a different answer for you at that point in time. But right now, what I would say is, look, this we need to figure out how to resolve some of the remaining questions, because those folks that were able to hear the message and kind of really wrap their head around it totally got it, realize this is a no-brainer. And so I think we can build some work from there. The other piece is, and this is where I wonder if some of the local collectors really understand the shot clock that's ticking on them right now, is the glaring unconstitutionality of our current system is becoming pretty apparent to everyone. Yeah. And so I fear that, there might be a lawsuit at some point. I don't want that to happen. I'm all for finding a bipartisan compromise to get something done. But at the end of the day, if we're going to continue to protect a two-tiered system, one that penalizes in-state businesses, especially small businesses, at the expense of out-of-state businesses, just so that, local collectors can continue to have their own ability to, take some of their proceeds and audit whoever they want overlapping, that is not going to work in the modern economy world. And so, we have to go back to the drawing board. We have to find a solution. And if we can't, at some point, someone's going to challenge our current system. And I think there's a really good chance that the court's going to say, wait a minute, y'all are running a two-tier unconstitutional system, and that's not fair to in-state small business.
Stephen Wagusespack, president of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, is our guest. I was shocked, Stephen, to see 50-50 on Amendment 1 in St. Tammany Parish. Can you find a more conservative area in Louisiana? Can you find a more business-friendly area in Louisiana than St. Tammany Parish? And they voted 50-50, which brings me around to our state constitution was written in 1972. It's been amended, and I might be undercutting this number, 1 billion times.
Yeah.
Is it time to start looking at the idea of, and I already know the answer to this question before I ask it, start looking at the idea of Louisianans are sick and tired of amending the Constitution. We need to bag the whole thing and start from scratch. It's time for a constitutional convention.
The answer is yes. And a couple of years ago when this issue came from the session, and, Neil Abramson in his last year was willing to put a lot of his horsepower into running a bill. We supported it, and we pushed it in the session. I do think that day is coming. You mentioned the Constitution. Look, there's two ways to amend the Constitution. One, by amendments like we tried this weekend. And yes, the population's kind of getting sick of every year having to do that. The second way to do it is through a convention. And the last two times we had a convention, one was in the 1920s under Huey Long, which created that old school system, which is the problem. And then in 1974, when Governor Edwards basically took the Huey Long system, tweaked it, fortified it, modified it, and that's the one we have today with the amendment. And so we have an extremely long, intrusive constitutional language. It's the very fact that we had to go and amend the Constitution just to get modern sales tax collection techniques put in place goes to show you we have too much that is chiseled in granite in the Constitution. So I do think we need to consider a convention at some point. I do think if that happens, it needs to be an independent and group of delegates who are elected by the people, who come from the people's decision, and they can come in and take a fresh look at this, because the more we try to compete with other states for jobs and investment, the more we have to realize that if we're going to compete in the modern economy, we have to update our tax code. We have to do a better job preparing our workforce. That means fixing our schools. And we have to do a better job to investing in priorities instead of spreading everything so thin just because everyone needs a little piece that we don't have anything that is excellent. And so, I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but man, other states are doing it different. Alabama, they put all of their investment in the Mobile port. And right now, with the supply chain issue, they are beginning to dominate. They are grabbing cargo from Southeast Asia, coming here. That is going to be a permanent investment for them. Walmart, Amazon, others flocking to Mobile to build off that. Here, we spread everything so thin, on investment supports. And so that's just one of many examples where we've got to streamline our Constitution. We've got to get it out of the way and allow our state to be nimble to respond to the modern economy and create, a sense of personal responsibility and accountability instead of this lineage of the Huey Long model where everyone just expects, the capital to solve all their problems. Texans don't sit around waiting for the capital to solve their problem. Texans, pull up their bootstraps and get it done. And a more limited Constitution can give us more of the confidence and the authority to get that done here.
Completely agree. I want to get back around to investing in priorities in just a minute. But I got to ask, and it might be a futile effort, but can we go through the process again? Can the legislature take this up again, and we'll see the exact same thing on next year's midterm ballot?
I mean, I think anything's possible. I think, you have to kind of let a little time, heal. You have to go and talk to folks and see if, they're ready to get the band back together again. And, obviously if the will's there and the opportunity's there, we think this issue is paramount to get done. But, conversations and listening sessions will kind of drive that answer. But again, I think there's no doubt this issue has to be fixed in the next couple of years, because if it's not, you can't continue to just expect Louisiana small businesses to just take it on the chin in order to protect local bureaucracies for the heck of it. I mean, at some point they're going to go to court and say this isn't right, and I think they got a puncher's chance of winning when that happens.
Yeah, they do. All right, you mentioned investing in priorities. I've got to bring this around to Constitutional Amendment number 4, which would have allowed for, if the state gets in a tight spot, which you're less likely to get in this tight spot if you got more internet sales tax, but let's move on. If the state gets into a tight spot, you don't just cut health care and higher ed. This is the way it's been for some time now, and any tight spot we're in leads to that. We had the opportunity to broaden things out to get at other people's pork, and we remarkably, overwhelmingly said no to it.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on 4. One, there was not an organized campaign to push it, and so there really wasn't a messaging narrative behind it. So a lot of folks went into that ballot cold, seeing it for the first time. So that's the first thing. The second thing, anytime you start doing constitutional amendments, once you get past like 2 or 3, it's a hard sell, because folks are kind of fatigued at that point on voting, and they just feel like they're getting the wool pulled over their eyes. And so anything that has the word Amendment 4 before it is tough to sell. I think the other thing is, look, let's be honest. When you go around the state and talk to folks, it's an interesting collection of feedback you hear. Yes, we are a conservative state for the most part, and you will hear a lot of mixed messages when you go in the state. They'll say, look, y'all need to cut the budget and cut the fat and cut this and cut that, but don't ever cut anything in my area or anything that impacts me. Yes, we stop cutting priorities like healthcare and higher ed and corrections, but no, stop using other funds to do that. And so it's this mixed message narrative that's out there. And again, I think that's the hangover of the narrative we've been taught here in Louisiana since the 1920s, that the capital mama bird pelican is able to just peck her breast time and time again, like the flag shows us, and just provide for everyone across the state. And don't bother us with the details. Don't bother us with how you're going to get it done. Just do it. That's how we do it here. And I think Louisiana can't compete if we continue to think like that. And, other states, that's not how they're winning in the modern economy. And when I talk about other states, I'm not talking about California and New York. Those guys are actually starting to lose. They're losing jobs and investments and families, and those people are going to the South. But they are going to states like Texas and Tennessee and Florida that have a limited state government, a more stronger local government, and people, individuals, taxpayers have the ability to control their own agenda as much as how they educate their kids and how they go to work. And that is where companies want to be in the new economy. And so we have a great story to tell, but right now we have a constitution that is dragging us down and making it harder and harder for us to tell that story.
I'm all about starting that constitutional convention. However I can help in that regard, it's well overdue. Hey, we got
get the powdered wigs out, man. Let's do it. Get the quills going. Fill up the ink wells. Let's get to work.
Yeah, I'm about everything except for everything short of throwing tea off the side of a boat because the river's dirty enough. Got about 60 seconds left with Stephen Wagusespack from LABI. Calendar year wise, what happens with LABI now? Y'all go into hibernation?
Well, hibernation's a little strong, but it is finally we can take our foot off the gas a little bit. This is kind of our closeout session, and so we have a lot of internal staff work we'll be working on the next couple of weeks. We got to finish out our this year budget, prepare for next year's budget, and then we start kind of the internal work with our board and other committee members. Start figuring out how next year's agenda is going to be and steps we have to take towards that. I mean, in my mind, the two things that will dominate next year's agenda at this point, obviously redistricting. In February they come in, they redraw the line, so we want to be a good, advice giver for them as they go through that. And in the general session next year, I think it's going to be about education reform. There's no doubt our our birth to 12 students have had a tough go the last couple of years. The scores reflected. There's going to need to be a remediation plan that is strong as garlic. We're going to try to help the legislature and Bessie get that done as quickly as possible. So that'll be the two issues I think will dominate most of next year.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, we'll have plenty of room to talk about that here, and I'm looking forward to it. Stephen Wagusespack from LABI, I appreciate you as always.
All right, big guy. Have a great week.
You too. You too. Absolutely. We're coming up on 7:52 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Quick break. Come back. We've got the outside in next. Got to remind you, though, Talk 107.3 is giving you a chance to enjoy a true Louisiana staycation on us at either the Renaissance or Watermark hotels. Simply take our staycation survey at talk1073.com. In October, Danielle Parrish won the stay at the Watermark. Dane DeLatte won the stay at the Renaissance. You could be our winner for November by visiting talk1073.com. It's a staycation with the Watermark and Renaissance hotels. Yeah, at that point, once we're past 51, you can just hit it. It doesn't matter at that point. No longer becomes a hard time.
Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary. Portable heaters are the second leading cause of house fires in the U.S., so keep anything that can burn at least 3 feet away from your heater and never sleep with a portable heater on. Another fire safety tip from Talk 107.3 and Baton Rouge General's Regional Burn Center. Dreams are important. They're also easy to set aside during hard times. At Hancock Whitney, we look out for your dreams when you can. So keep dreaming. We've got your back. Learn more at HancockWhitney.com or stop by a financial center. Hancock Whitney Bank. Member FDIC.
At Our Lady of the Lake, our love of this community and our legacy cancer services have guided us for decades. We are proud to announce the newest investment into our expansion of comprehensive cancer care with the Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Institute. This institute will be home to leading cancer research, advanced specialists, and our trusted physicians and staff. Because cancer takes everything, we'll stop at nothing. Learn more at ololrmc.com/cancer.
I've got one delivery app on my phone, and that is Weidert. They are a Louisiana-based delivery service, and I love that they have people in every market they service. They're part of our community, and you can download the app and use promo code TALK1073 and get free delivery on every Weidert order, no matter which restaurant you order from. Promo code TALK1073 in the Weidert app. Free delivery on every $12 or more order. Limited time only.
Louisiana Bayou Bistro is cooking with love. Delicious Cajun goodness for lunch, dinner, or family combo to-go meals with limited dine-in or curbside pickup. Call 225-749-6354.
At the Louisiana Bayou Bistro, when I do something, with something else.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
I'm monitoring 3 areas closely. First of all, if you're traveling between Prairie
WRC Traffic on Twitter. This report is brought to you by Shophouse, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4
Okay, well, tighten it up because we got. .755 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP Mornings with Brian Haldane. Rolling right along. We got CBS News coming your way shortly. Thanks again to Stephen Wagusespack for hopping on board. I mean, this is a tough beat. I had no idea it would be this fired up about constitutional amendments, but here we are. Coming up next hour, actress Vicki Lawrence joins me. Actually, full disclosure, she's already joined me. I got the chance to record this interview on Friday. She was at LABI Friday. I got the chance to catch up with her. We talk a little bit about the golden age of television. We talk about the variety and selection that you've got today. We talk about her live show, if you missed it, at LABI Friday. And we talk about an issue that she has to deal with. Long and the short of it is basically chronic hives. That's about a dumbed-down version of how it plays out, but that's what it is. Vicki Lawrence next hour, also Catherine Weidert from Catholic Charities. It's getting to be that time of year for their Christmas campaign. But that's not till next hour. This hour, right now, in fact, we've got the outside in. Let's go.
It's time to step outside of East Baton Rouge and get inside our surrounding parishes. For me to be hitting the old dusty trail. Really explore space this time. I mean, really. Yeah. Explore the space. The Outside In, presented by BRPT Lake, with 6 locations and extended hours to fit your needs. BRPT Lake has got you covered. Schedule online now at brptlake.com. The Outside In is coming your way now. We gotta get out of this town. Yeah, and go where? Where are we gonna go?
We are starting off in New Orleans, where we go from phase 2 to term 2. LaToya Cantrell, whose first term as New Orleans mayor has largely been defined by the city's response to the coronavirus pandemic, has been reelected for another term in office. Cantrell will not need a runoff. She took home 65% of the vote on Saturday. That being said, that 65% of the vote was fewer than 50,000 votes. Think about that. Also in the running was Vina Nguyen, a Republican, grabbed 13% of the vote. And unfortunately, Belden Nooniman Baptiste only got 5% of the vote. Better luck next time, Belden Nooniman Baptiste. Taking you to St. John Parish next for an arrest made in a case that unfolded on LSU's campus. A man was arrested after taking pictures of vehicles in a parking lot behind Sorority Row and cyber-stalking sorority members. St. John's Sheriff told WWL 42-year-old Benjamin Bryson was arrested Friday, November 12th while driving through St. John on Airline Highway. The sheriff said deputies found 4 guns inside Bryson's car. According to an arrest warrant, he was seen by officers taking photos of cars in a Sorority Row parking lot back on October 10th. He said he was getting Bluetooth interference in the area, but couldn't explain why he was there to begin with. One sorority member told LSU police she was contacted in person by Bryson 3 times while she was walking around the LSU lakes, and apparently he had tracked her down via Instagram with a number of cryptic messages that spilled over into real life. Bryson was charged with 1 count of misdemeanor cyberstalking, booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. He has since bonded out and been released. Over to West Baton Rouge, 6 more arrest warrants were issued and executed Friday, tied to a deadly bar shooting at the Rax Bar back in September. As of Friday afternoon, 3 adults and 2 juveniles were in custody. 22-year-old Antonio Johnson, 19-year-old Bryson Butler were among them, taken into custody, charged with principal and manslaughter. If you were doing the math, there is still 1 person at large. That's 21-year-old Tariana Edwards. Closing out in Tangipahoa Parish, a freak accident at the Louisiana Renaissance Festival left a star performer paralyzed. 26-year-old John McKean took an incredibly hard fall on his neck while jousting last week at the Ren Fest. This was back on November 6th that this happened. John and his jousting partner, Marcus Desmond, were doing their lance passes like usual. Desmond's lance hit him in the guard, and it snuck up to his buff, the part that protects his face. The force lifted Johnson McKean out of his saddle onto the ground. He is recovering. He is in good spirits, according to his jousting partner. That's the outside in. Here comes CBS News.
WBRP Baker Baton Rouge, 98.1
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Closing arguments are scheduled to begin today in a high-profile case involving a teenager who killed two people at a Black Lives Matter protest. A jury will soon deliberate whether Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty of charges including first-degree reckless homicide for shooting three people in Kenosha, Wisconsin in August 2020. Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson. This Rittenhouse trial will really come down to which story the jury believes. Whether they see the 18-year-old as someone defending an American city or as an irresponsible teenager in over his head, enamored with having a firearm, or someone looking for trouble. Rittenhouse and his lawyers say it was self-defense. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News. Overseas, police in the UK have released new information about a car explosion outside a Liverpool women's hospital. CBS's Vicki Barker from London. Police say they haven't established a motive for the explosion, which happened just before yesterday's national commemorations of Britain's war debt. But considering the circumstances, they've declared it a terrorist incident. 4 arrests have been made. A 5th suspect died in the blast. That suspect was a passenger in a taxicab. Police say the driver got out and locked the doors when he sensed something amiss. Gas prices have skyrocketed to a national average of $3.41 for a gallon of regular in the U.S. In California, drivers are paying an all-time high of $4.67. These two in San Francisco are dealing with sticker shock.
I'm spending easily over $800–900 every month just on gas. I have to fill up twice a week, $70 each time.
It makes you think about like kind of what trips you're gonna go on, where you're spending, and everything like that.
To blame, experts say, surging global demand. President Biden is expected to sign his $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill into law today. It's intended to spruce up roads, bridges, rails, power grids, and broadband internet, and also create jobs in the process. CBS's Tom Foti says Mr. Biden will also meet with China's leader. The panel believes Bannon with China's leader, and here's Tom Foti.
Chinese media say their president, Xi Jinping, is expected to use that virtual chat to warn the United States to effectively step back on the issue of Taiwan.
COVID cases rising in at least 50 states, and 10 days after testing positive, Aaron Rodgers was back on the field to lead the Packers to a 17-0 win over Seattle.
Most emotions from the whole night was probably walking off the field after the game. It definitely got me a little misty.
After his positive test, Rodgers admitted his statements about being immunized were misleading. S&P futures up 15. This is CBS News. There's always something new under the sun. CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and Wbrz? And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug. It's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Wbrz to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Wbrz pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart, or go to Wbrz.com for a free gift. Search it. Clean nose, healthy life.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
I'm monitoring 3 areas closely. First of all, if you're traveling between Prairieville and Highland, the past couple of minutes, you may have noticed some slowdowns. Now, moments ago, there was a longer number. Now it's smooth again. I haven't got a crash report. Nothing must have occurred to cause a slowdown, and now it's out of the way. But still, an elevated drive time, 16 minutes between Prairieville and Highland. Next, I-10 westbound in the exit ramp by College Drive. There's been
All right, so we got to be out by 8:11.
back to Essex Lane. A live look at the area shows that DOT moved the camera away from the situation, which tells me
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
.806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hour 3 of Mornings with Brian Haldane coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Jake producing. Got a busy hour for you this hour. Vicki Lawrence, actress Vicki Lawrence, was in town over the weekend. I got the chance to catch up with her with a fantastic conversation. She was performing at LaBish Friday night, and that'll be coming up in our next segment. Also, as the calendar wears on, that cool weather when you wake up in the morning reminds you that Christmas is on the way. Time for Catholic Charities Christmas program, what they've got going on. Catherine Weidert is going to join me this hour as well. Going to get you to this day in history in just a second. Got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's Market. They've got 2 locations. One is downtown on 3rd Street. The other is on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive. I was by the Nicholson location on Saturday. Actually, I was out in front of the Nicholson location for a little while on Saturday waiting on Joey Chestnut to down as much Fat Boy's pizza as possible. And Chestnut finished second. I got to tell you, it's a little weird to go out and see like such a legend who holds so many records go down just on a day-to-day basis. Nobody goes undefeated. However, once that was over with, I was able to swing inside Mathern's and grab a couple snacks and take them back up to the studio. It's kind of become my game day tradition. They're there for you every game day. They're there for you all week long. Full-service grocery store, and it's not just for students. And as we prepare for the holiday season, if you want to lighten your load just a little bit for Thanksgiving, maybe swing by Mathern's on Nicholson at Skip Burtman Drive, or the downtown location can help you out as well. Either way. All right, right now, it is time for This Day in History. Jake, what you got?
Got to keep things short this time around, but we're going to get right into it. 1904, King C. Gillette patents the Gillette razor blade.
The best a man can get.
1932, Walt Disney Art School was created.
Okay.
1937, first U.S. congressional session in air-conditioned chambers.
Really?
They were out there dying back in World War I and, well, also the Roaring '20s and the Great Depression.
Okay.
Sucks. 1960, Elgin Baylor of the NBA LA Lakers scored 71 points versus the New York Knicks.
That was a record at the time?
I think so.
Yeah.
1969, the first Jackson 5 record to enter the top 100. I Want You Back. They probably
Is that your only musical one for today?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, God,
Just
no.
making sure you get the right one.
There's a lot. 1969 as well, same day, same year. Here we go. Wendy's Hamburgers, American fast food restaurant chains founded by Dave Thomas, opens in Columbus, Ohio.
Shout out Square Meat.
1986, Beastie Boys released their debut album, License to Ill.
License to Ill is still a legend.
It's a really good album. 2001, Microsoft releases the first Xbox game console in the U.S.
All right.
What?
You missed it.
Just say it.
You missed it.
Come on,
1990. This day in 1990.
What happened?
Rob and Fab were outed on this day in 1990. Rob and Fab were outed.
Anyway.
Rob, you say anyway because you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
Not a clue.
Yeah. Rob and Fab made up the duo of Milli Vanilli. It was on this day in 1990 that they were outed as lip-syncing, not just in their videos, which everybody does now, but during their live performances as well. They never sang a thing. They just had long braided hair and danced back and forth. Ba, 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 baby.
Yikes. Embarrassing things happening in 99?
90. 1990.
1990.
Don't forget my
2018, LeBron James passes Wilt Chamberlain for the 5th on the NBA's career scoring list with 44 points for the LA Lakers and 126-117 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers at the Staples Center, Los Angeles. 2019, Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, is the first R-rated film to earn $1 billion worldwide.
Girl, you know it's true.
Birthdays. Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Born on this day in 1952. Carl Anthony Towns, perennial all-star center for the Timberwolves, turns 26.
Okay.
What, he is?
Yeah.
He's pretty good at the whole basketball thing. B.O.B., 33. Airplanes.
Okay. Yeah.
Song. Chad Kroger, 47 years old. Winston Duke, the gentleman who plays M'Baku in Black Panther and Infinity War and probably Endgame, turns 35.
Mm-hmm.
Sophia DiMartino, 38. She's the female Loki in the Loki Disney Plus series.
Okay.
Phenomenal job. And finally, Tyler Boyd turns 27. Bengals receiver catching balls from Joey B. That's all the birthdays I got. Brian, what you got for me?
Beverly D'Angelo.
Ah.
Yes, Beverly D'Angelo is 70 years old. Ellen Griswold is 70 years old.
Me, oh my. No deaths to report. Let's get right through the holidays. First up, National
on the rain.
Clean Up Your Fridge Day. Clean your fridge, man.
Yeah, we need to get somebody downstairs on that. Have you seen the fridge in our kitchen downstairs?
I've decided against it. I've heard it's bad.
Gross.
Ugh. National Drummer Day. Shout out to all the drummers out there.
Shout out Chuck P.
Yes, sir. National Recycling Day. Everyone be festive for that one. Recycle people. Don't recycle
No,
people.
recycle, comma, people.
Yes, yeah. People. Recycle. There we go. National Philanthropy Day.
Okay.
Love that. Not national. I Love to Write Day.
Okay.
Steve Irwin Day. Shout out to Steve Irwin.
It's weird that there were no deaths on this day, but it is Steve Irwin.
It may have been him, but he doesn't appear on most of the sites I look up.
Okay.
He probably passed, and if he did, rest in peace. That is This Day in History.
We got a break. When we come back, Vicki Lawrence joins us next.
You know what I love about this time of year?
Oh, I hope this break is short.
Ball, football, and fishing. And so why don't you take your fishing game to the next level with our friends at Front to Back Boats. Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for nearly 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That, my friend, is the National Marine Electronics Association. Meaning, at Front to Back, they are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics. They do this through how they train their installers, interface standards.
Yeah, play the bumper and just right into it.
Pushing the technological limits while keeping you safe. And look, when you're talking about the fall and the winter, you're talking about the perfect time to do any yearly maintenance that you need done. To finally put in the parts you've always dreamed about. And at Front to Back Boat Service, they do it all. So find them on Facebook,
Nope.
Boat Service, or just go in. See them at 221 North Airway Drive. Front to Back Boat Service. They do it all.
People often think they can handle their claim on their own. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to think. If I can't get you more, even after our fee, then you owe us nothing, not even our calls. Chevy trucks are known for their legendary dependability and capability. And right now is the right time to find your next Chevy truck. It's time to forge ahead with Chevy Silverado. It's time to take on new challenges. And it's time to take it to the next level. It's the perfect time to do more in your next Chevy truck. See your Super Chevy dealers today.
When you've been in the industry for over 20 years, you learn a few things. For one thing, you learn your product inside and out. But you also learn how to ask the right questions and give satisfying answers. Chevy's fire.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from
This is going to be tight. We might miss CBS. Yeah. Which means we got to start at 15. We got to start at 14:30, which was 5 seconds ago. Don't worry about it. We'll miss CBS. It's all right. Doesn't matter how long the bump is, as long as you start it within 2 seconds. Actually, just go cold.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Wbrz, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
We are joined right now by legendary comedian Vicki Lawrence. Vicki, good morning. How are you? Welcome to Talk 107.3.
I'm great. How are you? It's lovely here in Baton Rouge.
Isn't it great right now? The weather, you're here for like the one of 2 weeks out of the year where it's actually pleasant. Every other week it's just sweat on top of sweat. I've got to start with this. Legendary comedian. How does it feel to hear that? Because it's about the most apt description I've ever had introducing a guest, and that is who you are. How does it feel just to walk around with that kind of swag?
Oh, it's very sweet of you. Legendary comedian means to me somebody old who's probably not working right now.
But you are working right now. So, actually, before we get into the, we've got a couple of different things we're going to cover. Let's talk about the show a little bit. You're in Baton Rouge because you performed at Wbrz Friday night. Mama is still doing her thing. For those who missed the show, what did they miss within the show?
Oh, well, I put the show together knowing that everybody wanted to see Mama because everybody loves her like she's a real person.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people she is. But I said to my writing partner at the time, I said, I think I'm kind of funny, so let's split the show in half. And that's why I call it a 2-woman show, because I hope that I'm not Mama, not you know what I mean? I hope I haven't turned into her totally. And my half of the show is sort of largely autobiographical. And, you know, the further away you get from the golden age of television, when I was lucky enough to start, the more fantastical the stories become. So it's just a really trip down memory lane for people about, I mean, I talk about everything that I know they want to know about how I met Carol and how I became a natural redhead, how the hell I had one huge hit record, how Mama happened, all the things that I know people want to hear about.
The very cool stuff. As for Mama, how has Mama evolved over the years?
Well, first of all, when I first started doing her, I think I was, well, I calculated I was 24 years old. And I used to say, people used to say, how old do you think she is? Oh, mid to late 60s, I'm sure, at least. Well, now I'm thinking she's got to be much older than that. I can't possibly be older than Mama. And at least she's a lovely character that I can grow into, you know. And she's evolved in that, well, she's very different from the Carol Burnett show. Mama's family was very different from Mama on the Carol Burnett show. And for this show, I thought, oh, it would be really fun to just push her into the new century and let her comment on everything that's going on. So she's still a feisty old gal with quite an opinion, but she's certainly gotten more modern, and I just didn't want it to be retrospective. I wanted to push her on into the new world and let her have to deal with everything that's going on.
That actually cures a lot of my curiosity, simply because you have a character, so the characters can be timeless. I mean, it's like to the extent that the character doesn't have to age like a human has to age, but Mama herself, what was acceptable in 83, 84, up in that region. I grew up with Mama's family more than I did the Carol Burnett show. But what was acceptable then is not necessarily acceptable today, so Mama would have to kind of move with the times a little bit.
She would have to move with the times, and she's, well, you know, she's very Midwest. She's very down home. So a lot of that thinking has not really changed. But, you know, the world is sort of crazy now. And it's kind of fun to send Mama out there and make her have to deal with it and figure it out. And what the heck is going on? So it's just fun to keep her really topical and edgy. Sort of, you know, it's my chance to be Chris Rock, sort of, Brian. You know what I mean? Not really. I mean, not Chris Rock, not crazy.
No, but you have.
Your mama hasn't gone that nuts. I said that one time, and somebody said, "Oh my God, we can't go to this show. It's going to be obscene." No. It's Mama's version. She just gets to comment on all the stuff that's going on. So it's fun to keep her very new and fresh.
Absolutely, and some folks can feel a little bolder when playing a character as well. Is there a lot of Mama within you?
In a casino, of course, you can get a little rowdy. And,
yes.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been fun.
You mentioned the golden age of television, which I think everybody kind of has a different definition of. There's a standard definition of it, but to you, what is your golden age of television?
Well, it was back in the day when there were only 3 networks and just the best of the best got on television. And, people would say to me, my God, everybody in the country saw the Carol Burnett show. I said, yeah, well, but there weren't, there were only 3 networks. Now there's so much on television, I think probably many people don't see most of it. And there are just so many choices. But back in the day, I'll tell you a funny story. We had when I did the Cool Kids a few years ago, it was a very short-lived comedy, but it was a great cast. And one of our guests one week was Patrick Duffy from Dallas.
Yeah.
And the producers came down to do the table read one morning, and they said, you guys, we had incredible ratings last night. We got a 6 share or whatever it was, and they were like stoked. We're on the Fox network, and we've gotten a 6 share. Patrick Duffy's guessing. I looked down the table. I said, Patrick, what were the ratings when Who Shot JR aired? And he said, oh, dear God. He said, like, I don't know, a 40 share. And I said, yeah, Carol Burnett show. We used to have like a 30 share every week. And the table's looking at us like, what are you guys talking about? It was back in the day, when everybody watched.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, your numbers definitely go up when there are fewer choices. Do you think we're in a better spot now? Or just to have this much variety, or does it mean just a lot of garbage ends up on TV?
Well, I think there is a lot of garbage, but there's a lot of great stuff, too. I feel like and that's another interesting thing. When we did Mama's Family, we were on NBC for a year and a half, but then we got canceled because they kept putting us in tougher and tougher time slots. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going up against Magnum PI. Oh, you're going up against The Love Boat. Or, it just kept getting harder and harder because a lot of the executives at CBS really did not understand rural comedy, number one, and they didn't understand a young lady playing an old lady. They just didn't get it. So they kept pushing us around until they, I think, felt they had the ammunition to cancel us. We sat for a year and a half before we went into first-run syndication, where we were the number one sitcom in first-run syndication for the entire time that we were on the air. But that was the very, very beginning, and first-run syndication turned into all this, all of the channels other than the networks. And they're the ones that are doing all the great stuff and winning all the Emmys now. And it's not the networks anymore. It's all the stuff that people stream. The Netflix, the Hulu, all of those great places that are doing Amazon. They're doing great shows, I think.
A lot of them are, but like you said, you got to sift through so much to find the diamonds in the rough within that, as opposed to the must-see TV days. And Mama's Family, you say getting canceled. Y'all had like a good 7 or 8 year run, did you not?
Yeah, we did, but NBC canceled us, and then we got picked up for first-run syndication.
Right.
By Laura Martella Pictures, and we were one of the first sitcoms to go into such a thing, which is where every market buys you for the time slot that they want. So it was a whole new thing, the first-run syndication, and in many ways it was wonderful because they would leave us alone and let us do our thing. We'd send them a tape, they'd send us a check, and it was nice in many ways, but in a lot of ways it was difficult because we were like the little bastard children of television. We weren't eligible for Emmys. We weren't recognized by, like the networks were. And I think we did a lot of great work, but it wasn't until Buffy the Vampire Slayer raised a huge stink over the whole thing that the Emmys finally widened out and said, okay, well, we'll start allowing cable shows. We'll start allowing this new. It was right when television really started changing.
Because when I
cable became huge, and now all the streaming is huge, and
Yeah, and it's everywhere, and it's overwhelming. And as a consumer of all the content, or as much as I can grab, as a consumer of it, you get paralysis by analysis. I mean, there's just so much, and
There is.
I did
You
not
have to
realize.
network. You have to have people you really trust to tell you what to watch.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you lose your point of comparison, then everything's good. Interesting stuff, though. I would have no idea that when it comes to getting slighted by an award show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer would have been the one that rattled the chains.
Yeah, they sure did.
Crazy. While I've got you here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning. While I've got you here, you've got a story to tell about your health journey as well. That I don't know that a lot of people either know about or understand the circumstances surrounding me. Let's talk about CIU for just a minute, if we could.
Yeah, well, I about 10 years ago woke up one morning with the palms of my hands itching, and I went downstairs. I said to my husband, he's already down there watching the news, having his coffee. I said, "You need to buy a lottery ticket tonight. We're obviously coming into a lot of money because my hands are itching like mad." And we laughed about it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the next day when I wake up with my hands itching again, and I went, "What the heck is going on?" I just dunked them in ice water, got the itching to stop. A little bit later, I'm out walking the dog, and I started itching all over. And by the time I got back home, I had scratched huge welts all over myself. And I pulled my shirt up in the powder room, and I looked at it, and Al said, "Geez, you need to go to an allergist or something. What the heck's going on?" Well, so I went to our allergist that we had used for years. He said almost everybody breaks out in hives at some point in their life. It's usually nothing. He said, "We'll get it under control. Don't worry about it." Well, we spent 6 weeks doing everything that you can think of that you would do for an allergic reaction. Mm-hmm. He's doing his medical stuff. I'm at home going, what have I done? What have I changed? What am I eating that's new? What am I washing the clothes with that's new? What new cosmetic am I? What is going on? All your friends are trying to help you. They're going, my daughter said, get on a holistic diet. Mom, you've got to do an elimination diet and figure out what this is. And one of my other friends said, stop drinking red wine. It's the tannins in the red wine. We had him over for dinner one night. I said, if I don't keep drinking the red wine, I'm going to lose my mind. So forget that.
That's a mama answer, by the way.
Anyway, it was this crazy journey of trying to figure out what I had done wrong. Because when you think hives, you think an allergic reaction, you're sure it's something you've done.
Right.
Well, 6 weeks in, my allergist says to me, we don't have anything under control. The hives keep coming and going as they please. And he says, I'm going to diagnose you with CIU, which is chronic idiopathic urticaria. Chronic meaning it's now lasted for 6 or more weeks. Idiopathic means he can't tell you why it's happening. Urticaria is the fancy doctor word for hives. It has since become CSU,
right?
Chronic spontaneous urticaria. So worldwide, that is the acronym that has been adopted by everybody. I think it is much easier to understand.
Right.
That it's spontaneous. For those of us who have this condition, and there are 1.5 million of us in this country alone, there's no known cause for these hives. They just come and go as they please. They are spontaneous. You don't know why, you don't know when, and I think the tendency is to blame yourself. Anyway, when I was diagnosed, I was really fortunate that he was familiar with the condition. It's just that a doctor will take like 6 weeks to give you that diagnosis just to make sure this is really what's going on. Yeah. And we were able to get my hives under control. For a lot of people that I've talked to, they've literally been looking for years for answers. I mean, I've talked to people that have quit their horseback riding, quit going to the gym, moved out of their house because they're sure it's the house, stopped using half of their stuff that they, makeup or products, or people that have been, I talked to a woman that had a huge notebook. She saw 15 doctors before she finally got a diagnosis. So it can be really frustrating for people that don't know what's going on. And when I was first diagnosed, I got on the internet, and there was no good information about it at all. I found a few chat rooms and people talking to each other going, what the hell do you think is going on? Mm-hmm. But no really good information. So when I had a chance to jump on this website, this program, CSUNU.org, hives.com, I said, yes, I will be the poster child for hives. I will let people know that they're not alone, that a lot of us are going through this. And it is just a beautiful website that I'm super proud of, Brian. It's supported by the Allergy and Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America. It's made possible by Genentech and Novartis. It's just a very smart website with a ton of information for people who may be looking for answers and haven't been able to find them.
When I was reading up on it, CSU and U was the first one to pop up. And yeah, I dove in for a lot of information as well. One or two more before I get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate your time this morning. Not curable, but is it treatable?
It is. And the main message you'll get from that website is to find the right allergist in your neighborhood that is familiar with the condition. And if you get on our website, they'll actually, it's been really updated in the last year. You can now hook up with an allergist in your area. You can do a telehealth visit, which has, become so popular. You can listen to my story. You can listen to other people's stories. You can listen to an allergist explain it to you. But the main message, there's a symptom tracker, so you can, keep track of the hives because they come and go. It's going to be like your car when you take it into the mechanic. Undoubtedly, the hives will not be happening the day you finally get to the doctor. So it's nice to track them and take pictures so that you can get that diagnosis sooner than later, hopefully. But yeah, it is treatable. And the trick is to get to the right allergist that knows about CSU.
Unbelievable stuff. And yeah, so enlightening, so eye-opening, if you will. She is Vicki Lawrence, a.k.a. Mama. It's a two-woman interview this morning on Talk 107.3 FM. Thank you so much for the time this morning and for the information and for entertaining Baton Rouge while in town. I appreciate it.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. And these are my peeps down this area,
Well, if we weren't your peeps, we wouldn't call you Mama. Thank you so much for hopping on board.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Vicki Lawrence will be available at talk1073.com on demand after the show this morning. Full disclosure, it was recorded on Friday, so no, that was not live. We are way overdue for news. Go check our local news, traffic, and weather. When we come back, Catholic Charities hops on board next. We're right on time now. Yeah, we just missed CBS. Yeah. She's advocating for raising awareness or whatever.
Governor Edwards will be the next to act on Louisiana Pardon Board's unanimous recommendation to posthumously pardon the late Homer Plessy. The man known as a 19th century civil rights pioneer was arrested for trying to sit in the white section of a segregated train.
Yeah. Yeah. Pardon him posthumously.
Now, your Wbrz traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Conditions not ideal on I-10 coming in from Ascension Zurich, so we have an issue going on between Highway 7 and the Zurich line. You may want to consider sticking with Airline Highway or even the Block Road overpass to Old Perkins as an alternate route. But right now it's a half hour between Prairieville and Highland. Right now I-10 moving pretty smoothly by the 10-12 merge. Previously we had a crash around College that's out
see an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit ShawbillsTire.com to learn more.
Latest hailstorms that caused hit damage to countless Baton Rouge homes. Watch the roofing spots.
Is my mic on? Okay, so Tiffany, it was fantastic. She was delightful. I wish I could have rolled on the entire conversation even before we started, just shooting the breeze about how she made a comment about how this is her first trip to Baton Rouge without it like being just and that's why I made the joke about that you got the right weather. But she's like, this is the first time I've been down here this time of year. What else did we talk about before we got rolling? She was just very inviting and delightful and very personable. But thank you. Yeah. Oh, we get to it right after this interview. I don't think this is going to be the full segment. I'm still cold. .838 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. My thanks again to Vicki Lawrence for hopping on board. Really fascinating conversation. There was so much more I wanted to get into it, but we had already run, super long in the segment. But she was fantastic. By the way, if you got to go to the show at Wbrz Friday night, how was it? Post it up on our YouTube page. Go to youtube.com, look for Mornings with Brian Haldane. We're on there live every single morning. We interact with the with the YouTube chat every single day, and would love to hear if you saw the show. How was it? Right now, though, shifting gears, looking ahead towards the holiday season just around the corner, which means it's about time to start talking about a number of things that will be going on where folks look to help out during the holiday season. One of those groups is Catholic Charities within the Diocese of Baton Rouge. They have an annual Christmas program. It's called Community Comes Together for Christmas. Joining us now to talk about that is Catherine Weidert. Catherine is with Catholic Charities. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. I'm well. How are you?
Doing very, very well. So,
good.
Community Comes Together for Christmas. What do folks need to know about it?
Yes. So Community Comes Together for Christmas is like you said, our annual Christmas program. And what we do is we match up families in need with donors. And in previous years, we've had our clients create wish lists with gifts that they would like to receive. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic, again this year, we're only able to do gift cards. So what people can do is go online at CatholicCharitiesBR.org, and you can choose the family that you'd like to sponsor. A lot of people like to choose families that are similar to them. So, say, you have a family with a 2 and 4 year old, you can find a family through our database that also has a 2 and 4 year old. The need is great this year. As you know, Louisiana has been hit pretty hard this year with the spring floods and Hurricane Ida, and our clients on the list include some of those people who suffered through those events. So with Hurricane Ida, people lost their entire homes.
Yeah.
They have nothing, rebuilding from the bottom. So, thinking about Christmas gifts for their kids or their families is a bit overwhelming at this time. So we're just here to help them out and provide gift cards to them, a little bit of normalcy for their Christmas.
What kind of area are we talking about? Like the Diocese of Baton Rouge covers, what kind of ground do y'all cover with your outreach?
We cover 12 civil parishes. So we go, Tangipahoa, East Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge. We go all the way down to St. James Parish, Assumption, Ascension. So it's a pretty large area that the diocese covers.
And how many folks are you looking to help out? How many folks are still or how many families are still in need?
We still have about over 400 families that are still needing to be sponsored, and a lot of those have children. So again, we're just asking people to go online and sponsor a family. There's no minimum, but we do suggest that people provide $25 per kid and $50 per adult to help them, with their needs. And in previous years, it's people who really just don't have the means to buy Christmas presents. Even simple ones, like in previous years, we've had someone put laundry detergent on their list as a gift. So it's really helping the people, and it helps the recipient feel good, but we've also heard from all of our donors that it really enriches their Christmas and, makes them feel good and gets them in the holiday spirit.
Absolutely, it does. So when you talk gift cards instead of going out with the wish list, when you talk gift cards, I assume we're talking about major retailers that can apply wherever. It's like the Walmarts, the Targets, or maybe even Amazons.
Yes, so we accept all gift cards. The easiest way to do it is by going online, and we have someone on staff that'll go out and buy the gift cards and provide them to the clients. All those logistics are worked out. But we do accept any gift cards. If people can drop them off at our office in Baton Rouge, which is at 1900 South Acadian Thruway, or they can mail them there, and we'll make sure that they get to the client. But if you want to sponsor a specific family, again, you have to go online and include the family's number with your donation.
You mentioned some of the folks impacted by Hurricane Ida, but there's a lot of grandparents raising grandchildren right now that would fall into this category as well. If you could just kind of describe a little bit about the different scenarios where y'all are called upon to help out.
So we offer services across the board. We offer a lot of services, to the people in the diocese. We have our Sanctuaries for Life housing, which is a housing program for homeless pregnant women. So they're able to live there. They have to get a job. And then we also have, like, our formerly incarcerated individuals. We have Joseph Homes, which is a transitional housing for ex-offenders, and they pay rent, they do drug screenings, they have to get employed. We also have, like you said, grandparents raising grandchildren. A lot of those folks are on limited income, and so we help out, with buying Christmas gifts or whatever they need. We recently, I'm sure you've seen in the news, received some Afghan refugees from Afghanistan that were out there helping our troops. And so we have a few of them on the list as well. These people came here with nothing. They went through a really tumultuous, traumatic experience in Afghanistan getting to the United States. So, we're just looking to provide a little bit of relief, a little bit of generosity, and really welcome them into the community and help get them settled. And one way to do that is by getting in the Christmas spirit and helping them out that way.
Of all the scenarios you just spelled out, I'm just guessing that the Sanctuary for Life home is going to pique the listener's interest a good bit, because you're talking about like pregnant homeless women, Christmas time, and how to give aid in any way possible. How big is the Sanctuary for Life home? How many pregnant women are y'all able to serve per year, and how many need something this Christmas?
So all of we have a limited number of rooming opportunities, obviously, for our Sanctuary for Life. I want to say, I don't want to give you a number.
Okay.
Because I'm not entirely sure. But all of those women are on our list. They've all been included in the Christmas list. So again, you can go online and sponsor, and it'll tell you, if it's a single woman or if she has kids, or these women are pregnant. They have to be, above 18 years old. They have nowhere else to go. So they really need a gamut of things.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, you're sponsoring, as you're sponsoring a family or a particular person, you're picking who you're sponsoring, correct? Like you can know, like, I sympathize with the grandparent raising the grandchild, so let me help out there. Is that?
Yes, that's correct. We have a list of people online. If you go to CatholicCharitiesBR.org, it'll take you. You can click on our Christmas banner, and it'll take you to our Christmas website, and you just register. It'll tell you the number of people in the family, the ages, and kind of what the situation is, so that you can get a feel for who. Again, unfortunately, this year we're not able to do the whole fun Christmas gift exchange, and the families are normally able to meet one another if they'd like, and really get in the Christmas spirit. But unfortunately, with the pandemic this year, we're not able to do that. But the gift cards are a huge help, because, like I said, some people's homes, with Hurricane Ida, have been wiped out. They can't think about Christmas gifts right now. Grandparents raising grandchildren, they just have so many other things that are necessities that you don't. I mean, think about a 4-year-old waking up and not having any Christmas gifts.
No, nobody wants that. I mean, obviously, we're looking to help in that regard. Before I get you out of here, one more time. First of all, the deadline this is needed by.
Yes. So our deadline to choose your family to sponsor is December 3rd. And we've been, like I said, we still have about over 400 families still needing someone to sponsor them. So, and you can go online, CatholicCharitiesBR.org. If you have any questions, you can call us at 225-910-8921. And again, we're thankful and appreciative on behalf of the clients. We're so thankful for anything that anyone can do this Christmas.
Of course, that phone number and that website will be available when we post this on demand. In the meanwhile, Catherine Weidert from Catholic Charities of Baton Rouge, thank you so much for hopping on board today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and good luck in this Christmas season, as there are a lot that are in need, and they're looking for about 400 more families to help out. $25 for a kid, $50 for the grown up or for the family, and I'm torn on the gift card thing, because it's practical. Yes, it makes sense. Yes, it will still serve, but unwrapping a big box and seeing it, we'll move on. Anyway, CatholicCharitiesBR.org. Going to get you to your money now here in just a minute. Got to tell you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Hey, how'd you sleep last night? You get a good night's sleep? If you did not, your mattress might be to blame. If your mattress is to blame, I can tell you right where to go. The Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, either location of the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet, 4065 Florida Boulevard if you're in the Mid-City area, or, 18181 Jefferson Highway. It's the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2 in the southeastern portion of the parish. Mitch Kimball wants to take care of you as this holiday season approaches, as the calendar year winds down. Mitch wants to make sure you are taken care of. There will be end-of-the-year sales coming up shortly. That's not to say that he doesn't have great prices right now. You can check him out at 4065 Florida Boulevard or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2 to go along with those great prices. He's got great financing options. And, of course, if you mention you heard about it here on Talk 107.3 FM, you will get free delivery. 4065 Florida Boulevard or in Mid-City or the corner of Jefferson and Hoosier 2 for the Baton Rouge Mattress Outlet. Going to check your money now. Going to check traffic one more time. When we come back, Mitch Landrieu's back in the news. We'll talk about it next, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Not done yet. One more segment to go. Oh, of course.
What is the website and phone number?
You're going to have to go back and listen to it for the phone number. The website is CatholicCharitiesBR.org. Oh. Well, fine. Spoiler alert. Oh, what I'm going to be talking about in the next segment, she just talked about in Your Money Now. .org. She said it a couple times during the interview, and when she sent me over notes, she sent me CatholicCharitiesBR.org. I would imagine Catholic Charities USA would send you to something that's not in Baton Rouge. Just use CatholicCharitiesBR.org. I'm on it right now. You know what? If you type in CatholicCharitiesBR.org, it's going to take you to CCDIOBR.org. Put in CCDIOBR.org.
Brian Haldane here for St. Genevieve Paul. This holiday season, make a donation that helps people in need. If you've got a boat, car, motorcycle, or RV that you no longer use, consider giving it to St. Vincent de Paul. This donation could get you a tax deduction, so go to svddbr.org to learn more.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes. And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Rank Show. We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for time.
Is your business looking to get more involved? Well, there's never been a better time to join the Baton Rouge Area Chamber. Get plugged in, network with decision makers, and help be a part of moving our regional economy forward. Sit at the table at brag.org/join. That's BRAC.org.
Oh, let me stop this. Hang on.
Attorney Peyton Murphy has been fighting insurance companies for over 28 years and recently won an $18.9 million verdict for a crash victim. Trust his experience. Offices in Baton Rouge. Results may vary.
Louisiana Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin.
Saturday is Election Day. This is a statewide election, and everyone in Louisiana has something on their ballot. If you live in an area affected by Hurricane Ida, visit GEAUXvote.com or call 800-883-2805 for information on absentee ballots, polling place changes, and election dates and deadlines. I'm Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin, reminding you to go vote.
Oh, Kyle.
Kill the schedule, man. A juicy prime rib roast. There are plenty of reasons to serve beef this Thanksgiving. Beef is packed with protein, and with 29 cuts of lean beef to choose from, there's always something succulent to serve to your family. So this Thanksgiving, and all during the holiday season, be the hero of your family's gatherings by serving what everybody wants, the delicious taste of beef. So remember,
Beef.
It's what's for dinner. Brought
Beef.
to you by Louisiana cattle producers through the Louisiana Beef Industry Council and the Beef Checkoff. Come on out to the 7th annual Running of the Elves on Saturday, November 20th, and dress in your best elf attire and start your holiday season off with a picturesque run around the beautiful city of Central. The Running of the Elves 5K will start at 8 a.m. and a 1-mile fun run starting at 10 a.m. with a free pancake breakfast for all participants and their supporters immediately following the race. This event will be professionally chip-timed by Cajun Timing. For more information or to sign up for the race, visit Running of the Elves 5K on Facebook.
This year, we're letting our customers speak for us.
One of the best things I did in 2020 was call Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal. They did such a great job on our roof that 3 of my neighbors hired them, and 4 houses on the next block did
Summit in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and the North Shore, go to PremierSouthLA.com for premier craftsmanship.
And premier customer service.
Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Now, your WBRZ traffic update from Ashley Fouché.
Traffic is improving now coming in from Ascension Parish. We still have some slowdowns, though, between St. Gonzales and the Parish line, but it's improving. It looks a whole lot better than it did. About 10 minutes Prairieville to Highland. I-10 starting to slow down again right around College Drive on the westbound side, and also the bridge at the top. We've got a little bit slower speeds eastbound, but overall looks pretty good. 10 minutes Lobdell to College through that area. And of course, that overturned car around I-10 past Seagan toward Highland. However, no delay to travelers. It's over to the left side.
See an accident? Report it at WBRZ Traffic on Twitter.
This report is brought to you by Shawbills, where you can get up to $250 with the purchase of 4 eligible Bridgestone Alinza tires. Visit Shawbills.
Oh, hey, we got to go right after the show. I got Monday morning meeting, y'all, so we'll be bailing at 8:59:50. (8:56) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. One segment to go on Mornings with Brian Haldane. Wow, covered a lot of ground today. Thanks again to Richard Condon for hopping on board in our 6 o'clock. I dropped my pencil. Hang on. Sorry. Thanks again to Richard Condon for hopping on board in our 6 o'clock hour. Well, he was all over the map today. If you missed it, it's available on demand at talk1073.com. Thanks to Dr. Katie Taylor from Our Lady of the Lake for our Medical Monday segment. Stephen Wagusespack talked about the constitutional amendments that, one passed, 3 did not over the weekend. Vicki Lawrence hopped on board, and we just heard from Catholic Charities as well. If you missed anything, it'll be available on demand at talk1073.com after the show is over with. So, about 2 o'clock this afternoon, President Joe Biden will sign into law the infrastructure package, $1 trillion to be spent. One of the points of contention is how much is Louisiana going to get? Because there is our our bottom line of what we can get, and then there's a number of dollars we're going to be eligible for and in the running for. As we've talked about this issue over and over and over and over and over again, one of the points of contention from Louisiana's delegation who voted no on this has been, from a political standpoint, there's no reason for Louisiana to get more than just that baseline number. From a political standpoint, there's been no reason to try to court Louisiana voters. If you're Joe Biden, you didn't need us last time, you don't need us next time. When it comes to electoral college votes, we're not that important. When it comes to pushing a national agenda, we're not important at all. What could possibly happen to make Louisiana a player when it comes to distribution of $1 trillion? Over $1 trillion? Well, how about this? You heard about it in Your Money Now just a minute ago. President Joe Biden has chosen as supervisor of his $1 trillion infrastructure plan, Mitch Landrieu, who, as New Orleans mayor, pushed the city into recovery after the devastation from Hurricane Katrina. Landrieu will be tasked with coordinating across federal agencies to work on roads, ports, bridges, and airports. The White House said this yesterday. Biden, of course, signing the bill into law today, 2 p.m. to be specific. Governor John Bel Edwards is on hand for that one. Our own Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome will be there as well. But look, forget about your politics here for just a minute, okay? Because I'm going to forget about mine. Whether or not you're in favor of the government taking on another $1.2 trillion in spending or not, that foot has sailed. That ship has left the barn. It's a done deal. It's being signed into law. So the next question is, if the money's going to be spent, how do we get ours? So now let's rewind and ask this question. Did the news just get a little bit better as to whether or not Louisiana is going to get its fair share and possibly more? Will Mitch Landrieu be a decent steward to get these dollars back here? We can fight all day long about the next round of trillions upon trillions of dollars. But for now, how is this anything but good news for Louisiana? That's going to do it for us. Fox News Rundown is next. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Protect your retirement. Visit safe.
down after the meetings. Oh, yeah, I thought I did. Later, y'all. I got to go upstairs. I'm 4 seconds late already.